Right, we should now be live. Apologies for that. I forgot to hit the go live button on YouTube. It used to be you just click start and it did everything. Now you've got to click the go live button, and because I'm a bit under the weather, I forgot to click it. So you missed out on 5 minutes. Oh, you missed so much. There was so much that happened in those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You missed the apology. You missed everything. But we'll do it all again. Yeah, sorry YouTube.
You missed me having to introduce the show because Execute was fumbling.
I'm a bit under the weather.
So welcome.
Yeah. So
Welcome to
apologies,
the Inforunners, citizens.
yeah, sorry for that. YouTube.
I'll do it again.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Algared, and I'm joined by my usual partner in crime, Execute. We're here to give you all the lowdown that we can think of, and all the ship talk that we can come up with. We'll answer your questions. Put them into the stream. Start up a bot if it's not started, and we'll be able to get your questions. Just remember, just use the word question anywhere in your question, and our bot will grab it. And then we'll answer your questions in the order they come in. Anyway.
Why did that sound like such an old man? Ugh. Old man.
Because I'm old.
Old man.
My students think I'm Methuselah. But I do like the SE. I like the fact that when you look at what the SE is, it's basically everything that the original Aurora ad said you could make your Aurora into.
Yeah.
You know, you could give it the extra guns, you could give it cargo, you could give it all the stuff. So I do like that. I haven't taken it out yet. I haven't seen how it compares flight-wise compared to the others. So, but I expect it'll be as good. And I do like the look of the Mark II. The Mark II is when I took it out, it felt like a zippy little fighter. And that's what I really like about it. It's why I like the Buccaneer. The Buccaneer to me feels like a fighter. It doesn't feel sluggish, and the Aurora Mark II does not feel sluggish when it doesn't have its modules on.
Quite honestly, if you want the kind of where I'm at with like review status, the DM module is a complete waste of time. And then on the names, why the hell did they recreate the wheel again? Why isn't it just the CL and the LN and stuff like we had before?
The LN module.
I know they're not variants anymore and they're now modules. Cool. But what does it matter? I know what an LN is. I know what a CL is. I've got no clue what a DM is or a TS. Yep. Why create a whole nother stream just for confusion? And the Clipper, by the way, the CL is used on the Zeus. It's used on even the Drake line. You know, put it this way: if the Galaxy comes out and the cargo module is not called TS, we're gonna have massive issues. I'm gonna start to rant and rave because it needs to be consistent. It's an internalized module, so therefore it's a cargo module, so therefore it needs to be called TS. That's simple. I don't like how many years have we been carrying on now about streamlining, simplifying things, and you're just compounding the issue. I'll let you read that one, Argo.
Yep. So we have a super chat from Ben Hanna, New Zealand, and thank you for the $10. And he has a question with that. He says, "I missed the last stream.
What's that, like 50 cents?
Can you summarize the name of a...
isn't it $10 New Zealand like 50 cents? That's
no, it's probably about 80 cents. Probably about $9.80, but
right.
Or $9 or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for that. Yeah, he's taking a dig at you. I'm sorry for that. But he said he missed the stream. Can we explain the name? Well, in the last stream, it was looking at the modules that have been in the sneak peek, and we were saying, hey, one of the guys said, Robert JT said, they look like, or they are, Aurora Mark II modules. And the reasoning for that was...
Let's just show him.
Yeah, you can flick them over, and I'll keep explaining.
Yep.
And he said these are Aurora Mark II modules, and his reasoning was they are next to an Aurora Mark 1.
And it didn't really connect.
They weren't next to an Aurora Mark 1. They were in the same hangar. Was his reasoning, which the reasoning...
That's like saying they're in the same box. Okay, cool. I can put a dead kangaroo and a dead rabbit, and it doesn't make it another animal, you know, like in the same box. It was completely disconnected in reasoning for us.
Had it been a picture of your Aurora Mark 2 and saying, yes, these are modules for your Aurora Mark 2, awesome.
Yeah.
But saying they were modules seeming to imply that for the Mark 1 didn't work. So we went the argument that no, they're modules or something. There's some form of module, whether it's a escape pod or other stuff. And we were wrong. They were modules for the Mark II. And so, but given the argument that had been put forward, they also were modules for a Mark 1.
But it is a very exciting prospect to have a starter modular ship. And I think the really big takeaway that you and I was talking about last night is what this means for modules going forward. And tell them about the discussion that we had with Ben and John and the Gladiator, because I think that I don't know if that's something that started the ball rolling on this or they already had the idea, but when you brought it up, I was like, I remember that, and so go ahead if you want to tell.
So when we're talking with Ben and John, I said, look, when you're bringing up modules, the modules for the Gladiator, because in law the Gladiator's got a carrier module, it's got bomber module, you know, it's supposed to do bombing missions and all the rest of it. And their argument was, well, because the missile bay in the Gladiator is so big, if we put bomb bays in, there'd be so much waste of space that you wouldn't have anything to do with it. If we then looked at then we're not sure whether we'd do modules or variants. Now, one of the things we've also been saying for the last year is that, not another variant. And I get variants on some things, you know, variants for the industrial ships and having a solid hull being leveraged into different jobs that are kind of similar or adjacent makes sense. But just doing it for the sake of doing it just seems like... and we'd postulated, you make a ship and then you make a cheaper module, you're more likely going to get a lot more sales from the module than you are going to get from bringing out a variant because it's significantly cheaper.
Well, so you can do this. You can do the same thing now with what do you call it? With the what do you call it?
The Mark II.
My brain. Right. The Mark II. So like, say they were going to do gameplay, so like a data module or something like that. I actually don't think they'll be like $10 like these current modules. I actually think they'll ask a premium and they'll cost more.
Yep, I reckon I'll go 15, 20. And you know, and you look at ships like the MPUV.
Yep.
Now the MPUV is supposed to be modular. That's in the name.
Yeah.
You know, and yet so far they've just brought out variants.
Yeah.
And so the whole question of what you do, and when we were talking about
they are moving to correct that, though. I can talk a little bit about something that did happen this week, Argo, real briefly.
Yeah.
The mole carbon and, you know, the white and the black one, the variants that they had, they are now skins. They're just skins now. They're not standalone variants. So I think it's become like a package, and you get the ship and the skin, which probably implies in the future they may sell the skins again.
Yeah, which might mean I get rid of the ship that's standalone and just get the one with the skin. Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and one of the things that when I was kind of mulling out what you would do with the Gladiator is, because of the space difference you'd have, I actually said, put an extra shield in. You know, put a component in or another shield to use the space, and that feels like exactly what the idea have done with DM module, and so that excites me. Not because it's a module for the Aurora, but for what it may mean for, you know, ships like the Gladiator and a cargo module for a Gladiator and a bombing run with an extra shield for a Gladiator is almost exactly the same as what we've got for the Aurora, and it would just give the Gladiator so much love. So yeah, I'm that excites me. That really excites me. So, but yeah.
And then properties. I do that. Hey, there we go. Right, it's time for the giveaway. I've just put Discord into the background, so that's what it is. Pete's spamming me. What does Pete say? Could not be anything inappropriate. Resolve the report. Workers intended for it, so we've rolled out change where the mole carbon. Yeah, there you go. See, look, paint variants, bang. See, proof. Right, back to where we were. The roast channel. We need to go through this, Algared, and I need to pick out a winner for the Peregrine. This is going to be a long and drawn out task. I don't know why, but anyway. First off, camera rank. Lycan, watching the Inforunners is like watching a Connie Phoenix fly. You've got the pilot, the engineers, the gunners, and then you've got Algared, who's the decorative fish tank.
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh.
But fair. Need to roast Algared better, then he gets geisha beans roasted. Yeah. The real Peregrine is said to be the fastest bird in a dive, so you could argue that the in-game Peregrine actually lives up to its name, at least judging by how far it's dropped in popularity. Oof.
Shay's got a couple. Shay had one. He said, Algared has redeemable features, unlike the Saber Peregrine. And then the following person says, why does Algared love the Peregrine?
Stop. You read them out of order. I want to go through order. So I don't lose my place.
It caught me.
Yeah, that's fine. The Peregrine is a mid-life crisis ship. It only flexes speed. A stiff breeze blows it apart, and Mazda spate flight. Algared has two. Like how Algared is so well dressed, wearing a tie vest, collar, dress, and shirt. It shows his respect to his audience and keeps his mind for the fact he's not wearing any pants. And it's so true. The number of times he's stopped with no pants is disgusting. You do not want to see behind the scenes.
That's not true. I've done shorts. Yeah, shorts. Not trousers, shorts.
Literally, old man. Grubby underwear.
No, we're not grubby underwear, you maggot.
Anyway, the one time the Peregrine...
He's baiting me and he's doing it right, yes.
The one time the Peregrine would win any kind of race would be if it was flown by Argo, and then it would head sticking out of the cockpit for extra aerodynamics. Ooh, that's true. Very aerodynamic head. It's a fin-shaped head, is what they're saying.
True.
Oh, there's a lot here from Les Tasso.
It's for polishing the egg.
Argo talks like he's running a Black Ops Intel network, but half the time it sounds like he's just discovering a new Google Doc and then thinks it's classified. Man delivers insider info with the competence of a CI director and the sourcing of a guy with a Reddit comment at 2 a.m. Every theory is wrapped in director's claims. It feels like it's letting a lawyer go with himself.
Harsh.
And the way he builds up to the suspense, bro stretches a single data point into 20 minutes. He's trying to meet a word count for a high
we
school
can go
essay.
for 3 hours.
We have information, you and everyone else with Wi-Fi. The Peregrine looks like it was designed by someone who said, what if it's speed, but it's absolutely no personality, and the space equivalent of a lease-based BMW, fast, sleek, and somehow still boring.
I disagree with your Shinobi trick, by the way.
I like this guy.
Oh, you're still going down the list, aren't you?
Yep. The marketing is like the pinnacle of performance. It was reality, ship equivalent of skipping all day, all the time with Lincoln miss it, which is great because you don't have to look for it for long. Let's be honest, Star Citizenships already live up to the word. Concept is doing heavy lifting. Peregrine is like a concept of a concept. If you buy a ship, you're brought a promise of a JP. Finally, Algared will spend 30 minutes telling you why the Peregrine is a secretly revolutionary, and the Peregrine will spend 30 seconds proving it just to ask any question. Flying into Peregrine is basically saying, I just don't want gameplay, I want velocity and regret. Okay, we're getting there. Algared, you've living proof that bold and bald are only one letter apart. Oh, that's true. The bold and the bold and the bold. I was trying to say the bold and the beautiful, but I can't. It's the bold and the bold. The bold,
the bold
and the bold.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. That's so funny. Right.
Yeah.
I could say it's so shiny that his stream doesn't need a lighting setup. Luke, I am your great grandfather, Algared 26 AD. You can't blame Algared for not staying abreast of Inforunners news when they're really abreast. Wait, then there's real breast to be running after. Okay. Right, well, that went low real quick. Peregrine took services. Will get you it overnight, even if it takes all week. You're so old you can see. How could so old you can see Big Bang burn into his bald head? When God said there, let there be light, he shined a flashlight off Algared's bald head. Yeah, they're really roasting here, man.
Some I can, I don't mind some. You know, they're okay. You know, they're okay.
Okay. Inforunners be explaining features so deeply that the devs be watching are like, yo, we didn't think about it that hard. Algared and the Peregrine actually share a lot in common. They don't do anything useful unless they're under bright lights and steered in the right direction.
Steered in the right direction. Now, I've got a point with this one.
Yep.
The Peregrine is never useful. Ever. Not even under bright lights. So, yeah, I think that's wrong. I'm sorry.
Argo looks like he's been serving as a grader to the Banu Sully's entire life. I was wandering around Sydney.
Old Man Hurston is not a greeter. I'm sorry. He's not a doorman.
Wandering around Sydney, enter the atmosphere, looking for Inforunners, and thought I was lost cause. Then out of nowhere, I see Chris Roberts strolling around the floor, gently escorting a floating egg, and that's when I knew it was Algared. Glistening in the light, reflecting off the event hall, witnessing the glorious golden dome. His person like once a lifetime phenomenon. I didn't get to say hi, but I urged to meet Inforunners has always been satisfied. Oh, there you go. What's this one? When you try to brag about your fleet, but then the boss shows up. I love how they got DG as well. That's so good. The Chrome Dome. It's internal warfare. That was good.
Sorry, the Chrome Dome is me. I'm sorry.
Good.
Yep.
That said, though, someone stole that one. Look, they just took that one and then tried to do it. That's copying someone else's homework.
Look, calling me Conehead is nothing new.
Yep.
I got that in the 90s from students. At least they were intelligent. They were referencing, you know, common current movies and stuff. And then I came back to them and said, yeah, it's a Chrome Dome. Get used to it. So, you know, roast all you like. If you're going to pick on the dome. So, yeah.
Saber Peregrine's story is one as old as time. It might look sharp on the first inspection, but just like Argo, its just sense is full of holes and shows its age. Ooh. When we give Keltec Evercrack and Uwe Girls, they produce space magic to shoot our enemies. When Old Man Hurston gets into the supply, the verse wakes up to the Peregrine stinking with the local shipyard. Algared's bald head so shiny, Peregrine mistakes it for landing beacon. Can't see. Oh, it got flashed. Algared's has redeemable features unlike the Peregrine. That was actually pretty. Why doesn't Algared love the Peregrine? Because it's egg suited.
Trying to pick on the fake shape of my head versus, you know, thinking the.
This one I didn't understand. I did read this one earlier in the week after I wrote this comment. It said, I found it hard not to admire a man who has enough friends that he not only can man a javelin, but given one for free from CIG, there are so many that they question to own 2 more. You never got given one for free.
No, never been given one for free.
Yeah. Raw Mark 2, SC Community, free Saber Peregrine. Yep, that's probably about right.
So, no.
That's really like what you did with the original picture. The Peregrine and Argo both interrupt by being better. Right. I think the best one, in my opinion, is actually this one by Daft Digit, which is a mod, which is kind of funny. I think that is actually the best one in my opinion. The other one that I would give
what was that one?
That was the one with DG in it.
All right. Yep.
That one's pretty good. And the other one I really liked was this one here by Lycan. So they're the two that I really like. I'd probably have to give it to DG though. I think that's the fun. So DG.
I'll say Sand Grabber. That was harsh.
So
there are no moth holes in my clothes.
So Daft, reach out to me. You got the Peregrine, in my opinion. Right. We'll also give away the Mark II Aurora that CIG gave us this week. Not right now though, but we will be giving it away. Wait, let me show you. We'll probably do it with a review, Algared. What do you reckon?
Which one?
We'll do Aurora. Well, yeah, we'll do a review of the Mark II Aurora, and we'll give that away.
And we'll give away that packet
next week. So it'll just be leave a comment on that video. Where is it?
Yep.
I know they gave us one. I think it's this one. Yeah. So it comes with both modules, lifetime insurance, probably the game. There you go. So they've given that to give. All right. What should we? Just trying to think what we should make the comment. I'll think about it for the episode, but I think I'm going to make it something about jetpacks. Gonna let us know, like what something about jetpacks as in reference to why we got it wrong. And if you don't make a comment about a jetpack, therefore you don't win it, because that way you got to know about this stream and you got to know about that. I don't think that would be kind of funny, but I don't know. I've got some pretty twisted giveaways coming up later on in the year, don't I, Argo? I've planned some pretty weird ones. One for the Raelian I'm very looking forward to. I did some psychological warfare. I've told Argo about it. What do you think about? You remember the Raelian one I told you about that I want to do? You remember, or have you forgotten?
No. When did you tell me? Was it last night when I was half asleep?
No. I told you back in January. Remember how I told you about the three the three? You remember the three? Or have you forgotten?
I'd have to look in my notes somewhere.
All right, so I didn't want to ruin it, but I'm gonna have to tell because Argo's forgotten. So what I'm gonna do is I've got 2 Raelians, and there's gonna be 3 giveaways. The giveaway with the most votes loses. It's just deleted, and then the other 2 win a Raelian. And I thought that would be hilarious. Watch people like psychologically. Oh, that'd be funny. Anyway, we'll see. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but that's the plan.
So, to get that, you'd have the top 3 votes, and then
no, you only get 1 vote. You only get 1 vote.
Yes, but
and if I find you in the other one, you are instantly deleted. You are instantly out of contention. Yeah, I know. That's why it's so cool. But there are 2 Raelians to give away, not 1. So you got 2 chances to win, but you've got to be the winner of the losers. You know how it works? I think that's clever. I think that's real clever. Anyway.
Yep.
Anyway.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jason Giles, Frio35 says, should I keep my Hull B, given that it's coming out in the next couple of weeks, or CCU to a Starfarer?
Why not wait and have a look?
Why not? Why not buy the CCU to the Starfarer and sit on it? And then if you really like your Hull B,
you don't
use it to CC up to something else.
You don't even need one to a Starfarer. You just need one from the cheapest ship under a Starfarer.
Yeah, that's right.
The other thing I will point out, though, is this. So this is something not a lot of people have talked about, and we are going to do an episode on this probably this weekend or earlier in the week. We're going to try and get 2 out this weekend. Algared's got some stuff on. But I noticed this, and I brought it up to him. As soon as 4.7 dropped, they updated the cards on the roadmap for 4.8. And one of the things you'll notice is refueling improvements. So the Starfarer, it may not affect the Starfarer. In fact, I think it's got another new ship coming.
Which fits with what CIG often do.
Yeah, so I was about to say, so those of you that have paid attention in the past, we know the Expanse is a thing, and we know the Starfarer is a thing. But what they usually do, is a whole new ship. Now, I should bite my tongue here, shouldn't I, Agrid? I really should bite my tongue here. But there's another ship that me and Agrid think are coming, but we also think this has got fuel refining is very close to refining. So we actually think 4.8 is going to be refueling and refining. So kind of like a 4.8 and 4.1, much like how we're getting the we got the Aurora Mark II and we're about to get the Hull B. You get two ships per patch. Yeah, that's kind of what we're expecting. We're expecting something like a fuel transporter. Because the other part of it is if you go down here to missions and events and read this, it basically says players will also be able to request refueling via a beacon, which initialized are fulfilled by an NPC. So that means we need a ship that carries fuel for a ship. I don't think they're going to send us. We need another refueler. I don't think they're going to send a Starfarer out to you somehow. No, it's overkill. So I think I know what it might be, but I'm going to leave that for the video on the weekend. Yeah. So yeah. Yep. And I've already said too much as it is. But yeah. But look, could it be a Vulcan? Yeah, it could be a Vulcan. Picking up what chat's saying, it could be a Vulcan. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it because it needs drones. So no. Yep. But they could just do it as a kind of a magical hand wavy refueling from the drones of this of a Vulcan that turns up. I'm going to say no because it's the same thing as the Expanse. Yeah. We already know about the Expanse. Every time they've introduced a new gameplay, a new ship that we've never heard about comes along. Yep. Every single time. I'm hearing that and I'm agreeing with it, but I'm saying they could. I don't think they will. Robert, they could. Robert got it. Robert, I'm calling it the Buffalo, by the way. If you're wondering, and if anyone else wants to see what he did, Robert wasn't the only one. It was also Albert Wesker got it as well. Yep. So I think it's absolutely. I don't think it's a Vulcan, as I think it's suggested. I actually do think. I think, like you said, and Robert said, I think it's a Golem Buffalo. That's what I'm calling it. Yep. Yeah, because you can just take the arm on the stated one, and you'll notice if you swing it literally 180 degrees to the back, it actually perfectly goes through past the two little engine light things on the top. And again, whether it's an Ox version or a standard Golem with the containers there, it's perfect. It just fits everything. And why would you want to send out an entire refinery when you can just literally send out a fuel transporter that refuels people? And that's all it needs to be. And already having the Golem, that's a really nice little onboarding task for someone. Yep, 100%. And it also ties in with what I was talking about with variants. If you've got a really solid hull frame, then having variants that are adjacent and in that industry line just seem to work. And that's where I think the Golem fits. Yeah. So yeah, it seems a no-brainer. Yep. Does that mean they're going to do it? No. But it seems just logical. The Golem rig, you idiot. Right. So yeah, I don't know. I sat there with a couple of different animals, and I haven't really heard a good one. The water buffalo kind of speaks to me. Camel, I can kind of see that working as well, but it's more drinking water. I'd have to sit there and think about it. Some kind of animal that gives energy or gives fuel or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I'm sure they've got a cool name. I don't know. Maybe you can wait. Hang on. Tell me an animal that gives an urge or food the cow and is like an ox. Yes, you'd call it the cash cow. Let's see what AI says. If we come up with any cool animals. The yak. Ox, yak, and yak. Golem yak? I don't know. Well, maybe. Maybe. Is yak like a buffalo.
Kinda.
Yak is like a buffalo. Depends on which animal you mean by buffalo. American buffalo. Bison. Oh, Golem bison. That's it, I reckon. Could they call it the Golem goat? Oh dear, I need a blood.
So, first time chatter on Twitch, Firefly23, welcome. They have a question. They say, what will CAG tell us with adding Maelstrom to the roadmap for 1.0? That they've added Maelstrom to the roadmap for 1.0. That's basically what they're telling us. It's telling us they're doing a lot of updating and it's ongoing.
Maelstrom's a massive system too. It's everything from vehicle destruction, building destruction. Very, very big system. It's going to play into salvage, repair. Yep.
Yeah.
Big system.
Yeah. And as Daft Digit says, Yak and Ox, you know, so the Golem Ox and the Golem Yak make good sense.
Yak sounds probably the best one I've heard that lines up with the Ox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can even make the Yak like an acronym, so YAK if they wanted to. Yeah. I don't know, just an idea. Again.
Yucky alternative.
Hey.
Kinetic fuel.
Hey. Hey, we went with what was it? Oh God, I can't even remember what the cool name was now. Instead of moth, what was
crab.
the other? The crab. Yeah, we went with crab, and they bloody did moth. So you know,
yeah,
probably golem horseshit. No one wants.
Sergeant Perry says the Golem Dragon because CIG don't use community names. Yeah.
Golem LPG. The gasser. Yeah. Well, yeah. Someone needs to look up what is the most gaseous cow.
Yeah.
Apologies, got a bag. Like a lozenge too. Sorry, I think I brought like a light version of COVID with me back from the Philippines, and I just got like my whole nose in here has all been congested, and it's just when I talk, it just comes out. Right, we'll do the next question, please, Algared.
The next question is from Ziggs79 says, is LTI really worth the hype, or is it fine to buy ships without LTI?
In my personal opinion, the bigger a ship becomes, the more warranted it becomes. That's how I would cover that.
Yeah, look, I'd say when you've got a small ship, no, not really. But if you can get LTI on any ship, get LTI on it, because it's going to save you, credits in the game in the future. But if you're getting big ships, and they're, once you go, I personally think once you go above $100, $200, you're looking at a ship that for the amount you spent, get LTI on it. It's going to save you credits.
That's not that hard anymore. Like if you've already got multiple ships, just wait until look, the Aurora LN just came out. Buy Aurora LN and upgrade off that. We're gonna have the UTV soon. There are now
you mean the Aurora Mark II and SE, but yeah, both of those.
At the UTC.
Oh, you said Aurora LN.
Oh, Aurora Mark II. Sorry.
That's what I heard. Sorry, if you said UTC,
I meant UTC and Aurora Mark II. But if I said Aurora LN, I apologize. But yeah, you know what I mean. I meant the new one that's coming soon. The point I'm trying to get to is there's now, it used to be like one every 2 years. That was a really cheap LT icon, and then it went to like one every 6 months. I'd say now it's almost at the point where it's almost 4 of them a year. So you really don't have to wait long anymore. And again, if you know that there's a ship that you're even potentially thinking about and you don't have an LTI token, why not pick up something like the Aurora Mark II and just sit on it? So you got one ready to go, So yeah. But the UTV is around the corner. My point being, it doesn't matter if it's in 4.7 or way down the road. It's coming. Is the point I'm trying to say. There are multiple ones coming this year. Yeah.
No, I understood where you're coming from. I was just picking up that small error because we do it all the time.
We do.
we do it all the time. We know what we're meaning, and I knew what you were meaning, but people watching may not necessarily pick that up.
Rabbit SC, here's the next one. Speculation on the next Mark II starter ship, Avenger or Mustang would be my picks. I think it would have to be the Mustang. It's also been removed from the store.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty telling. And I think the Avenger's in a much better place. I don't think there's really too much wrong with it, really. But there are gaps in the lineup. For example, that is an advanced starter. Is there room for a ship underneath the Avenger? Much like why I thought the Mark II would be an advanced starter, not a starter. We don't really have an advanced. Well, we've got the Salvation, but it's not a leapfrog. It's a step off into another profession. It guides away from just a generic, a step up. So yeah.
One thing that did kind of links into that had me wondering is in the video when I was talking about the Mark II, we had Chris Smith. Now I hadn't seen Chris Smith around for donkeys.
Yeah.
Now he's one of the guys who started in 2013. He's one of the old shipbuilding guys, ship team guys.
He worked on the couple of reworks on the Connie as well, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. He worked on the 300i. He worked on the Connie. He worked on the Freelancers.
He's done a lot.
So he's done a lot. So to see him working on that, I originally thought he'd worked on the Mustang, but that was David Hobbins because we had the Hobbins hole or the Hobbit hole.
I found out from Grimm as well that it's a what's his name? Oh, Gavin Rothery ship. So he made the Kraken and a few other ships. So that's probably why the Aurora looks as cool as it does.
He's also, if I've got the same guy, he's the guy who's also done a lot of Star Trek ships. I think he did the Defender and a few of those ships for Star Trek. I could be remembering wrong, but he's not some schmuck. No, he's someone who's done a lot. And Chris Smith is the same. He's done a lot of stuff on other games as well. So and he worked on he's done quite a lot. So let's have a look. I'll just have a look at stuff he's worked on. Duke Nukem, Starhawk, PlanetSide. So yeah, quite a few. But yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
But that made me think when I was thinking it, I did wonder whether a Mustang would be the ship it'd work on, and as you pointed out, they've removed it from the sale.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives an indication that it's possibly in the same boat as the Aurora.
I think a lot of those ships, I think there's a lot of changes coming in the background. So one of the things you might notice that I told you last night is there's been some massive freelancer changes. And you and I have been trying to figure out what this ship is that's going to have the Mark II treatment. I think it might be multiples of them coming. And if it's not Mark II, then it's full on upgrades, right? Because let's be honest, that's kind of what they need. Like, we're about to go into prime time. We've got these ships that have been sitting here for so long. I think the absolute biggest contender now is the Connie. I think I think it would be crazy if they did not update that thing. Considering its dilapidated state, let's be honest, it's pretty dilapidated.
The fact that they've done passes on it and brought up to steam and they put the buttons on the doors and other stuff, and yet the components are still not physicalized. Now that kind of screams to, and even for Phoenix, they put the PDC on it. They've done updates, but the components still aren't there, and that kind of screams. And you mark, it'll be a Mark 6, I think, for a Connie now.
But also doing fixes to the Freelancer. I'm wondering if the fixes are in lieu of coming back to fix it at a later date. So they just tweak it and kind of fix it so it works okay, and then 12 months from now they do a Mark II on it or whatever. That's kind of where my brain's going at the moment. So adjust the Freelancer and release a whole new Connie.
Yeah, well, I do think there may be credence to that. And I'm attaching some very tenuous dots.
Yes, same.
And the dot, it starts with Chris Smith doing work on being there doing stuff on the new Aurora.
That's true. Actually, what Dom just said there, he said Freelancer doesn't need a Mark II, it just needs an interior work. Yeah, you're kind of right there, and it's only partially true. Yeah, it's not as bad as what the Connie is, but the Connie's at that point where I think the real big problem for me with the Connie has always been that it doesn't land properly. Like, it lands onto wrists and it doesn't have a third thing. That's always just been a contentious issue for me.
I've never really had a problem with the Connie unless I'm slamming down at like 100 meters a second.
The same thing happens with the Hercules, though. You know, where they kind of build forward and stuff. Like it's just always been a thing for me. And if it's meant to be this hallmark ship of the entire game, like the cornerstone of the entire, well, it's not even the cornerstone, the you know, it's the middle of the game.
Iconic ship.
Yeah, it's the most iconic ship. It's the middle of the road. It's Chris's favorite. It's, you know, RSI's kind of hallmark. It just really needs to be up to snuff before this thing gets pushed out the door. The RSI kit is further forward than anything else in the entire game. They've got the longest amount of lore, the most amount of ships. They've got the smallest ship in the game in the Aurora. Well, it's not the smallest, but you get my point. But they've got the Aurora.
And the largest.
And the Bengal. So they've got the biggest gamut of ships.
And they've got very few in between.
Yeah, and basically just let them kind of be the test bed, and everything else will fill out after that. And then in also doing the Connie series, you knock 5 ships off because there'll be 5 variants.
Yep.
You take that same modular system you did on the Aurora and the Apollo, you can see very quickly where it can go. And
I wonder whether, like, to touch on that point, I wonder whether CIG are moving away from the variant. Like, and you remember when we talked with John and Ben, that was one of the things I was saying. Do we go variants or do we go modules? And they were vacillating between the two. And I wonder whether they're picking up on the community feeling that not another variant.
Yeah.
And they're leveraging that and realizing if we saw modules.
Well, again, if you Mark II the Connie and you modularize everything, and I think you can. So the whole front, you know, pick your front end. You can have an Aquila front end, or you can not. You can. Do you have different turrets that you can put onto it? We've been saying for years it'd be great to have interchangeable turrets.
It would be great, but I don't think they'll go down that line. Just for the same reason we talked about the other day. Even though they've got those parts,
but why not?
The second I put the Aquila nose on the neck of a Phoenix and the body of a CL
but why not?
And start mixing and maxing them. You're adding the complexity of the damage states and all the other stuff.
But the modular system is there. That's my whole point. They can do it if they want to. That's my that's my whole point. And again, instead of making it 5 variants, couldn't you essentially make it like the Aurora Mark II, and they're all modules?
Yeah, you could. Now look, I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying one of the things that we've talked about in the past is the second you open up that modularity to that whole ship, and I'm picking this bit, I'm picking this nose for my Phoenix, or this tail for my. You're adding to that complexity in terms of.
Make it simple then. Certain modules only work on certain variants, so you can only use the ones off the Phoenix if you have the Phoenix core module or something like that.
I'm not saying they're not going to do that. I'm just picking up things that you've actually argued with me in the past as to why I wouldn't do modularity in terms of the complexity of the stuff that's required in the coding and the items and all the other stuff. I'm happy if they do, but and I'm not saying they can't and they won't. I'm just raising that other thing with the point we've talked about.
Our group doesn't want those dirty peasants using his Phoenix pieces. I can hear it in the Chinese voice. He cares. He cares so much. I can hear it from here. I know you too well. I know you too well.
No, I don't care. I'm just picking up that point that they've said in terms of what we've talked about in terms of modularity, and the modules are there for them. It is a modular ship. There's no doubt the Connie is a modular ship. The question is whether they make the modules available to us, whether they keep them as a tool for them. So now, in terms of what ship I do think is going to be worked on, and I think I agree with you. I think the Connie is due, and I wonder whether the fact that Chris Smith worked on the Aurora Mark II, and he was also someone who worked on the Connie back in the day, and did one of the Connie reworks. Whether that's an indication that he's been working in RSI, he's still doing the RSI, working on RSI ships.
Yep.
He's worked on the latest one. Is that indication that they're doing the same treatment with the Connie? Now, I wonder. Here's a thing I'm postulating. Is the Mark II testing how the community reacts to modules and buying those modules? That's a question that I wonder. And if it fails, if no one buys the modules and says, yeah, these suck, then does that mean they'll go, no, it doesn't work? But if then they sell a crap ton of the Aurora Mark II, and then they buy people buy a crap ton of the various modules, is that going to push that modular sale pattern a lot more?
Yeah. Well, it really depends how good the modules are, because I think well, when we come back to talk about the Aurora this weekend, I think one of the modules.
Well, you've already said it in the stream. You thought the DS module was crap.
The DM. The DM.
Yeah,
so the defense module is terrible. It's a waste of time. The cargo one is where it's at, and if you want a combat ship, just take all the modules off.
But like I said, I think those two modules to me scream modules for the Gladiator. The Gladiator in lore is a bomber, cargo ship, and torpedo boat. You take the missiles off that module and turn them into bombs and give it a shield, bang, and then you got cargo. And so I can clearly see that for the Gladiator.
It's definitely, and I even said to you at the time when we were talking about it, you could lean it into other ships too, like bigger modules, like the Retaliator variants and stuff like that. So it was just really interesting that you kind of talked about putting components into modules and then literally seeing them pop up in the Aurora like that is a really cool thing.
And as Citizen Ninja picks up in terms of that modularity for the Connie, I think that'd be probably what they'd do. They'd go a set front, neck, and then it'd be the body section, that'd be the modular section that you'd be changing. And I think that's probably what they'll do. And you actually saw that in the original version when they worked on the Connie. When they did the Connie.
If you think it through, it's pretty simple, right? So you have a Phoenix body, and then you can put any head you want on it, right? But you put the Phoenix body on, and then it becomes modular with inside that. So now you can only put the Phoenix modules inside the Phoenix. I can't just take a Connie body and put a piano or the jacuzzi in it, because it doesn't have that slot. It's just that simple. Right, so you got to think of it as a parent-child relationship, which is how they work in game and how they work in most games. And so when you start to realize that, yes, there are certain modules that'll work on any, like the front, but the body has modules within inside itself. So that's how you can limit and allow almost everything that they want to allow us to have.
Well, you see, they've already done that. You'll remember when Chris Smith and I can't remember who his partner was were working on the Connie and breaking into those parts, the neck, the body, and all the rest of it. At the same time, Josh Coombs was working on the updated Phoenix. And what it ended up being, it wasn't an updated Phoenix. It was just the body section that he worked on. You look at a Phoenix, the neck, the cock, the front, and the tail. They're just standard Andromeda parts. It's the body. It's that module in the middle that is different.
Arcane Danger says, I would love to see a modular Caterpillar. Well, again, this system is now so flexible. You can see why they've made it, because it's going to allow them to go back and do all these ships like the Endeavor, the Caterpillar. Argon I even talked about the Redeemer. Like, think about all the module, all the components up the top. You can now move those components down to the bottom so you can take them out for repair. And not all of them, right? So obviously the jump drive can stay upstairs. you know, the power plants and certain things like that. But if something is only needed for a particular module, it can go downstairs, and it can be a smaller size, so it can be extracted for repair. So it allows them to be a lot more dynamic than they were. You have to be a little thinky with it, but it definitely allows them to be a lot more creative. Our first time chatted there.
Indeed.
Reverend Queen, me too, but how much design would a modular cat be? It's a part of it if you think of it, because the individual cargo modules are meant to have components in them so they can survive on their own. That's always been a thing since the very beginning. So it's not a surprise to me in Algared, because again, you take a dot from somewhere and you remember it, and then it comes back years later.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's really sticks out. Like you even look at the SE, the Aurora SE, the new Mark 1 that's come out, the swan song of the Aurora Mark 1. That's got everything in it. And if you look at the original video, the original sale video for the Mark 1, they start off with an ES, and it's no, I want more missiles, I want more guns, I want more cargo, I want a leather seat.
Yeah.
And the idea was you could do all the things that all the other modules did, but you could actually mix and match them to create what you want. And the SE is the penultimate example of that.
Can you imagine
the best cargo, the best shields, the best weapons, the best...
Can I interrupt? I've just had this thing come into my head, and I want you to visualize it. So you know how the Mark II has the wings that deploy, the Scorpius has the wings that deploy. Now take that and
Connie.
You know how the Connie's got the 4 nacelle engines, but so when it deploys, they don't deploy like wings, they deploy and crack off. So it goes from like looking like a little Dorito, and it cracks off and deploys, and then they become 4 actual nacelles, not wings. You see the leap there?
They go with Star Trek.
Yeah. So they kind of like, instead of coming out like wings, they just kind of like come out. Well, or something like that.
Ooh.
I can see it. I can see it now. Take my money.
The juice. Yeah, that's almost a take my money. You evil people, CIG.
So yeah, I can see that, and again, folded away, looks like a little Dorito, but then you crack it out, and it's almost like because the nacelles could be coming in an angle like that, and then they kind of crack out and they go straight, and it just allows it to fly really fast. I reckon that would be really cool. Yeah.
Well, you'll remember the original Connie, the original design of the Connie, and one of the reasons I never thought they'd put the PDC on their top, and clearly they changed this, but the original Connie, what would happen when it went into quantum jump point, the top nacelles would actually close together. And when it was in space mode, those 2 nacelles would move, they also would pivot, and that's why the Connie back in the day was supposedly so maneuverable.
But you can see it would fix all the problems too, because when it folds away, it would allow it to land almost like a mini Polaris, right? It could just land on its 3 legs. You could actually have a lift come down just like the normal lift, drive the vehicle in and out. Actually, I have always said I want the vehicle just to drive out the back. I think the problem has always been they wanted to be able to drive in the front and drive out the back, and that's why they had to remove the landing gear. You know, you could integrate I've said for years, how many times have I said this? The elevator should be integrated into the landing gear. So you literally just come down the elevator, and like the Polo did.
Yeah, but you'll also remember the original design of a Connie. What was the cargo bay? It wasn't referred to as a cargo bay. It was referred to as the hangar, because that's where the P-52 was supposed to be.
And also, I think the problem with that is it's now... Obviously, we needed docking for things like the command module and other stuff like that, so they could always leave it the way it is now if that's what they want to do. But I've always thought it would be way cooler if it was just like almost like a generic landing pad with a metallic clamp system, because then you could land any snub on it. It didn't have to just be a Merlin. It could have been a Fury. It could have been take your pick, right? And it also opens it up. If you metric, I've said this about for years, they needed to metric this shit out, right? Because if you could literally have snubs that were to a standardized pad size, then you could have had standardized. Like if the Pisces on the Carrack, for example, was a snub standardized size, then all snubs would fit on that pad.
Yeah. Well, you know that the reason why the P52 got moved out of the cargo bay was because we as the fans, not necessarily you and me, but the fans as general, the backers, said the second I open up to launch my P52, I'm venting the whole ship, because back in the day, it was a single single tube. You know, from you could look in your cockpit, turn around, and you're looking down at engineering. It was just an empty tube.
You can.
So the second you opened it up, you vented literally everything.
Yeah. If you simply take the Polaris and make it smaller, that's kind of where my brain's going with a Connie rework, because you can, instead of a hangar, you just have a pad that you kind of land on. You shrink it right down, but then you have the 4 nacelles that break off, and then make it look more like the old Connie. You can still have the turret on top and bottom, instead of having the 2 on the sides like on the Polaris and the 2 on the top. You just have 1 top and bottom. It all works if you think about it. You just run it through in your head and shrink the Polaris down, and then give it nacelles that are wing-like like the Aurora. You could see it now. The whole thing works really, really well in my head, but maybe I'm a crazy person. But well, I know I am, but you get my point. I'd be up for that, 100%.
Yeah. Oh look, I could see them also redoing the Connie based on the Aurora Mark II. The Aurora Mark II still feels, it still has the language, and they said on the video that it had, they really leaned into the language of the old Aurora. You can see that legacy, that history there, and yet at the same time, it also leans into the new Dorito style. I've got to admit, there's something about it that just seems to sit right. I didn't want to like it because you know, the icon of the old ship, but I do. Now I've got to say, and this is something I know it's something that will come out with our buyer's guide, but I do think that the game pack at present for the Mark II is definitely worth looking at.
All right, we can do that.
If you're looking at buying a ship, and certainly if you're a new person or you've got a friend.
Are you talking about this one?
I'm talking about the starter pack. No, I'm talking about the Citizen starter pack.
I don't think it is. I think this is the better one. I brought this one.
But it's not a starter pack. That's the thing. If you're looking for the starter pack is $45.
Yeah, it doesn't give you a copy of the game. I'll give you that. But you don't get the modules, and I didn't need another package, so I just brought that one. But yeah, true.
But like I said, if you're looking at getting a game to get someone in, if you're looking for a starter pack, this is the one to get. 10,000 UEC. That's $10 of credit just there. The ship's on 25 or 20 something odd % discount. So that pack would normally be $60 odd bucks. It's 45. Yes, as much as the ship itself. You get a spacesuit, you get a skin, you get 10,000 UEC, and you get the game. That's usually $15 added on. That is a massive, awesome good buy for someone getting into the game, and it's got LTI.
Yeah. If
you know anyone at all who's getting into the game, or you want to buy anyone a gift to get into the game, that's the one to get.
Like Arcane Danger says that for new players, this is a wonderful time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. And again, if there's another golem there, yeah, absolutely. Like, again, I'm getting the feeling that they're getting all their ducks in the row for the influx of new players.
Yeah,
Connie, Aurora, all the starter ships, Mustang, all that thing, because all those ships need to be bang on point, because that's the ships they're going to be buying. They're going to be buying those starter ships.
And as Just Right did point out, like I actually priced, is it better just to buy the Chairman pack with the 2 modules, or buy this and the 2 modules? There's $10 more to get both modules. So you buy the Chairman pack with 2 modules is $55.
No, it's an extra $20, Algared, because you can buy them separately.
Yes, yep. But if you buy them separately with that starter pack, you're paying $65 instead of $55. So you get the starter pack with both of those. You're paying $65. That's only $1 more. Actually, that's $1 less, I think, than the base pack. I know it'd be $5 more than the base pack, because normally it's $60 for that base pack. So that's a really good buy.
Yeah.
But do I think like you, for someone like us, the chairman pack is probably the better buy? Yeah. Because it's $55. It's $5 more than the starter pack, and you get both modules. So it's catering to both. I think this actually caters to both new people and old people, and I think that's a really, really good thing. That starter pack is a really good starter pack.
Another good thing that the marketing team are doing, adding to old and new alike. I want to talk about something really briefly. Well, we can leave it for the review. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how history is going to take it, because like years from now, when someone pulls it out on Aurora SE or just an Aurora, are people going to go, "Wow, what's that?" Or are they going to go, "What's that pile of junk?" Or is anyone going to care? And someone asked me about that earlier in the week, and my reply was a bit like the Scythe at the time. The Scythe was $350, and my brain went, "That's a pile of junk. It's not even as good as the Hornet at 110. That thing's never going to amount to anything." Well, boy, was I wrong. $3,000 later, for those now.
Yeah.
But my old point still stands. Functionally wise, like I've always looked at things functionally. That's just, I'm a functional person. Will it be rare? Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be rare, and there are going to be people that are going to go out of the way to go buy them. But I argue, what's rarer? What's going to be more sought after? And this is the other thing: is it going to be a Mark 1 Aurora? Is it going to be a Mark 1 Super Hornet, or is it going to be a Mark 1 Connie? See what I mean? The bigger it gets, the more interesting it becomes.
Here's the other thing: the Mark 1 Aurora is no longer sold on the game store.
Yep.
Are you still going to be able to buy it in game?
Oh, that was something that pissed me off too. I want to talk about that. Go ahead.
So that would be my question, but yeah.
Was what they did with the skins. I really would have liked to see these skins transfer over to the Mark II, because some of these skins I held on to, and a lot of people held on to for years and years and years, and now they're on a sunsetted ship. So I held on to it, doing my part, doing, like supporting you. And some of these skins were literally like, shut up and take my money, supporter skins and all that type of thing, and Operation Pitchfork and all this type of thing. And now they're on a ship that only those older backers have, right? So these are going to become some of the rarest ship in the entire game. But my whole point still stands. I brought them for an Aurora that I can now no longer kind of
get and use,
predominantly use, because it's been superseded. I would have liked to have seen these skins also work on the Mark II. I think that would have been extremely fair to do that. We supported you, you should support us. So they should have become a dual skin, in my personal opinion. Now, I know you can sit here and argue to the black in the face that that's a lot of work, and I get that, but you can't. You move the goalposts, and I think it would have been the right thing to do to allow these skins to work on the Mark II. And I really like some of these skins, and I would have really liked to have seen them on the Mark II. And if you don't, fair enough, but just an acknowledgement of whether you plan to do that in the future or not would be great. Because otherwise, I'm just going to melt them all, because they're useless to me now. And I've got every single one of them, the really, really rare ones. Things like this too, that we did events for, that people got these free skins. Cool, they're free, but now they're on a sunsetted ship.
Yeah, does that mean all the ones they gave over sunsetted?
Every single one of them, Algared. And even to the point, they added 2 new skins for the SE, which is the factory standard, but they also added a disco one. They're sunsetted as well. So it's a brand new skin. This disco skin is brand new, and it's instantly sunsetted. It's crazy. And look, they listed...
The disco has been sunsetted. Right.
They listed every single one, Algared.
Yep.
You know, some of them are really, really exceptionally rare. And the fact that they're selling them for $5 is also a little bit of slap in the face. Fair enough. Whatever. I'm not going to sit here and argue about that. It is good to see them resell things, right? But those of us that held, like, some of those skins were getting up to 13, 14 years of age. And now they're
hadn't been in game yet.
Yeah, they hadn't even been, well, for what, a month?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now, oh yeah, by the way, hasta lasagna. Don't get any on you. Yeah. You know, it's just like, I supported you and you've just told me to go get stuffed. It just feels...
That's sometimes what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd really like to see those as an option on the Mark IIs. And for those people that had it before they were sold at this sale, then maybe they should roll over and be Mark IIable as well. It's just bad taste.
But I also think part of the problem is it's an art job. It's taking the skin and reworking. You know.
Yeah, someone's got to sit down and put in all the time. I get all that. I do. But realistically, if you look at the patterns, there's not that many patterns in there. It's usually the same pattern, and it's just recolored. So again, you're only probably looking at 2 or 3 patterns and then just recoloring most of them. So again, knowing that you've already got the where is it? This one,
styling on the Aurora Mark II.
This one here,
with some of those stripes. Yep.
The obscurity. You could literally just take that and
use that.
Do most of them. You know.
Yep.
So I don't see any real big excuse why you couldn't do it. And it's like people say they don't do a lot of customer service, but I feel people that supported you without Aurora, they did that for a bloody long time. They earned those skins. And they, like, it sounds like $5, but $5 for 13 years, a bit of a slap. So yeah, and I know it's going to affect such a small minority of people, which is probably why they've just let it slide. They're like, oh, this is only going to affect 2% of people. But again, those 2% of people were there from the very beginning. And so they, you know, you do things like golden ticket people that get these massive perks, but anyone that just came just behind them, they get treated like everybody else. So you get this haves and have-nots very quickly, and I think it, I don't know, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But yeah.
Well, there's also this bit of discussion going on Twitch now. You know, with the removal of the Mark I's, and I said, you know, they're removing them from the store. They're removing them from game. Just right said they said they're removing them from game. I thought I heard them say they were still going to maintain and keep them up to date in game.
They will end up being a quest line, is what they'll be. They'll end up being some kind of mission where you go out to earn the classic cars. This will happen with a lot of the sunsetted ships. And then by the same token, once you get said ship, it'll unlock the ability to go out and do quest lines to earn their skins. The Mark I will be no different, as in the Hornet, and any other ones that they do like that. They've talked about this multiple times at this point.
And so I'd postulate whether it'll still be available in the store or still available in game. It may not be available in game stores, but it'll certainly be available in game. You'll certainly be able to get it because it'll be something they can wheel out.
Let me put this way, Argrid, in a way that'll make it so simple to understand. How many years do you reckon it'll be until we see the Mark III Aurora?
I'd say 13 years.
My point stands, though, yeah? Eventually, there will be another Aurora, right? Because they've talked about doing it in the past multiple times, and they will allow you to get a CCU to upgrade to the next one, which is what they did with the Hornet. They've allowed you to do it with this one. They'll do it again. And it'll just happen anytime they feel like they can do a refresh or an update.
Well, it's a type of thing I can see them doing when they, you know, like in MMOs where a new class comes out and they rejig everything. And half the time you have to go and, you know, recraft or remake your armor or do something like that. It's in a sense, it's no different from that. But but I can see though, as you said, I even if I remove those sunsetted chips from being able to be purchased in game, you do an anniversary, 10-year anniversary of a game launching. Hey, the first 5. I can see the first 5 ships. We've already got 2 of them already.
Yep.
Sunsetted. I can see all of those original 5 being sunsetted.
Yep.
And then they do an anniversary and earn the first 5 ships.
Let me put it to you this way, Argo. The Caterpillar.
Yep.
100% see that being sunsetted now. I can just see it now. Why work on something so complicated and so bloody annoying with all these issues when they can just make another one?
Pivot.
That solves all the issues.
All problems,
Yeah. Remove, make it bigger, fix all the issues, blah blah blah. Like, you can see it. It's just such an easier thing to do. And oh, by the way, we'll give us another $50 and you can have the new one. Bang, problem solved.
Yeah, and and you look at the Caterpillar. The Caterpillar works as it is. They've got the lifts now working. The lifts go to up and down and all the rest of it. That was probably the biggest problem they had.
I'll give you another one as a head start. I have a Pirate Edition Caterpillar that I've held on to all that time. If I don't get a Pirate Edition new Caterpillar, I'm gonna kill someone. It's just that. That's what I mean. No, you know what I mean, though, right? Like, it's the same thing as holding onto the Aurora skins. Like, you hold on to these things because they're rare and stuff like that, and then they just completely get superseded and all the rareness gets removed. So it doesn't matter if Joe Blow came in yesterday, yet me and you and a whole bunch of other people that have been sitting here for a decade, we just lost all that rareness. It's just evaporated. The goodwill has gone completely out the window. So it's the same thing. If you have it as a Mark 1, it must transfer over to the next version. And I think that needs to be a consistent thing going forward. If you have a rare skin, that skin must appear on the next version. I think that needs to be like hallmarked in, and they need the legacy. The skins need to be a legacy that carries over, in my personal opinion.
Yep. Sergeant Perry, I think the box missions are back, he says, and I think they need to be back because of the way the Aurora Mark II is set up.
Agreed.
And it's a good thing they're back.
Technically speaking, they've got it listed. Like, if you go back over here, they've got this listed as, like, with the command module, it goes up to, it adds an additional 6 SCU, but technically, in my personal opinion, it's 8.5 because you can put 2 quarter boxes on the inside.
Yep.
So technically,
it's actually more than 8.
This is all incorrect. All this information is incorrect because you got 2 quarter SCU boxes you can put on the inside.
Yeah.
So it's
where you can put your food. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Put your pizza boxes.
Yep.
Yeah. Extra cargo. I did like in the Aurora Mark II the suit locker / escape pod. I'm not sure whether it's a suit locker or escape pod.
It's a suit locker. Yep.
But I did think, slight modification to that, and it's a cryopod for a bounty hunter.
Well, again, Algared, the why can't you just put them in the back?
Yep.
You literally put it. By the way, the very first day I put a pulse in the back. You can comfortably put 2 pulses in it, and maybe in a squeeze fit 3. But if you see there, the problem with this ship is because it's got where the elevator comes down. There's a column. You can only put the biggest box you can put in is a 2 SCU cargo container. That doesn't mean you can put a 3x1, which is what those bounty hunter pods is. So you could probably put maybe 4 to 6 bounty hunter pods in the back of this. So there's no reason the cargo module variant couldn't also be used for bounty hunting. This ship is very close to an Avenger, extremely close.
It is very and it's dirt cheap at the moment.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful ship to have.
I would not be surprised if there isn't some kind of bounty hunting variant that changes it so it just carries 1 pod.
Yeah,
but adds
I wouldn't be surprised either.
A turret or a gun or something. Like, again, I could see that as the offensive module. Like, adding 2 extra guns to this thing would make this thing up. Like, 6 size 2s would be just amazing. This would be a fantastic little fighter. It'd almost put it up there with a Gladiator and stuff like that. One that adds 2 extra guns and like an extra engine.
And if
would be amazing.
If the module for that brings the price of a ship up level with a Gladiator, got no problem with that. You'd actually probably
actually have to have an extra power plant or an extra.
You probably would, but that's okay. Instead of extra shields, you get a power plant. Yeah. It'd be interesting to know what someone like Grim would say on such a topic. And if only he was here and would chuck in a word of wisdom, it'd be great.
Oh, that's a great segue.
Yeah, he's good. He's good for that, isn't he? Yep.
How you going, man?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Healing.
Yeah, apparently
Pete would be welcome to put his 2 bits in, but he never comes in.
Yeah, your middle stumper's in pain apparently.
Yes, yeah. Or left stump, I guess. Is
he got it. I was to say he didn't get the Aussie reference there for a second, but yeah, right.
Yeah, healing though, feeling better every day. So
that's good.
Well, that's good.
Is the
what are we discussing today?
Wife and daughter finally taking good care of you after all this time? Waiting on your hand and foot? Yeah, you're probably thinking, man, I need to get more operations. I need to get more.
I've been very fortunate. Let's put it that way. Yeah, very fortunate.
Oh, that's good. Good to see they're taking care of you.
Yeah.
So
what's the topic tonight? Are we talking Aurora?
A little bit of everything.
We've ranged everywhere. We range all over. You know that. We talk shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you finding the Aurora after a couple of days of having time to look at it now?
I like it. It really is. I think if you just take it for what it is, without the modules in there, it's kind of a middle of the line starter for me. It's it looks really cool, obviously, and gets you from A to B. It's got some nice, unique things about it, but obviously the modules really enhance that. Well, I haven't done much of the combat stuff. I can tell you that the cargo module turns this thing into a really, really nice courier ship, and I've been doing a lot of that lately with it. Again, it flies good, feels good. I like the simplicity of the inside. Still has a little bit of that original Aurora vibe. Yeah, I think it's a solid entry into the starter lineup.
Yes, I really like the vibe when you lie on the bed. You've actually still got those windows on the side.
Yeah.
Just a nice little cry out to the Aurora. Just all those little things. Like I was saying, it's got that Aurora 1 Mark 1 feel, even though it's been deretified.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying the other day, I think that the starting lineup of ships now to choose from is really diverse, and there's a lot of really good stuff in there. And I do think this ship solidly falls. This ship is very much like the Intrepid to me. It's fun to get from A to B in it. It does exactly what it needs to do. It's just, but this one's got kind of a unique vibe, obviously, with RSA stylings and all that kind of stuff, and so does the Intrepid. So it kind of fits in that place though on the starting lineup for me, sitting next to that ship.
And the fact that if they can bring out more modules to just expand that, or
love that,
bring out a new module that increases the shield to size 2, or and you can suddenly start pushing it up once you as the creep of other things comes in, you can just keep.
Yeah. So Grim, how you and I were talking about the refueling improvements and the missions and events and stuff. And we talked about a golem variant. The name that chat came up with that I think is pretty good is the Yak.
The Yak. Okay, I like it.
Yak.
That's good.
I like that. I think they did well.
Fox, Yak.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like that. I like that.
So I wanted to let you know that one. I also think that
I had another theory that so the Golem makes sense, and I actually think that one's a sure bet. If not for this, whatever this refueling ship may be, but at some point we're going to get a Golem refueler because again we've seen the concepts.
Yeah.
But
Agrid, real quick, you're good at finding the jump points. Can you find me the jump points with the Golem concepts in it? While Grim's talking.
Yeah.
If you know which one it is, I had a look and I couldn't find it. Right.
Okay. I remember. Yeah, I did have it. It has I don't think it's like on the cover though. I can't really remember. Actually, maybe it is. It may be like right here on the front page of them. Either way, there was part of me that was wondering if the Expanse couldn't get a variant that is a refueler. I still have pretty strong feelings that the Expanse is going into production this year as a starter refinery ship. But I could see that ship, in addition to the Golem, being a good starter refueler. You know what I mean? Kind of very much a mini Starfarer, in the Expanse. So
I get the sneaking suspicion that the medium one's coming first. So the one between the Starfarer and the Expanse. And it's probably going to have 4 mediums because we know about the Expanse, we know about the Starfarer, and every time they bring in a new gameplay, it almost inevitably is a completely new ship that we've never heard of because it's just something else they can sell us. So why give us something that we've already paid for when they can make us pay again? Just really common. So, yeah.
By the way, and if you haven't found it yet, I did just DM the jump point to you.
Please.
But I already have
awesome.
it. Open. I had it on my desktop from when I did some stuff on that one.
I was still crawling through the jump points.
Right, I have to remember that, the one with the... What is it? Number 13. Right. So it's this one, yeah?
Yeah, you'll see it when you scroll down to the Golem section.
Yeah, page 17.
Yeah.
Or was the one with the fuel canisters on it?
Yeah. And there might be more on another page.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling. Yeah, I think it was... You could just see...
In fact, you scroll down, you even see the fueling module down the bottom. If you scroll up a bit further.
Well, there's a few where they drop barrels off and stuff like that. So it's kind of where we got the idea from when... God, it must have been 6 to 12 months ago we were talking about this shit, but yeah. And then the same thing with the boom arm. You just take the boom arm and bend it backwards, and it's a fuel refueler arm, So
yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, I mean, it makes sense for this ship to get some other utilitarian use. I think that would be really, really cool. I own the Golem and Golem and enjoy both of them actually.
Yep, I upgraded my Golem to a Golem Ox, and that's kind of where it's at the moment. I just see that as a really good little transporter. But again, going back to this was the players will also be able to request a refueling via a beacon, which will initially be filled by an NPC. You're not going to send out an entire Starfarer when you can send out just the fuel. You don't need a refinery to do all that shit. Yeah. It's completely overkill. We do not have that ship yet. That screams new ship to me. And this would be the perfect ship to do that because you only need the fuel. You just need fuel transport.
And due to CIG's, systemic approach on things, you would wonder if a Starfarer, an NPC driven one with such a complex interior to that ship. Obviously they don't have NPC navigation in the verse yet, but how would they handle the NPCs in a ship like that? So it actually kind of makes sense that maybe we're getting a solo refueler, something that's like single seater, all done from the cockpit sort of thing. I mean, I'm maybe kind of speculating wildly beer, but it makes sense.
Yeah, no interior, no reason to walk around or anything complicated. And it just flies up and deploys the arm, and you have to go dock with it essentially. That's it. And you request docking.
Not that they haven't...
when you request docking, it just goes stationary, and you dock, you refuel.
Yeah,
it undocks, it nicks off, and you're done.
And not that they haven't deviated from that in the past with like the Idris, where the Xenothreat Idris, where there were technically AI characters in all the parts and pieces of the control surfaces of the ship, the turrets and all that, and the pilot seat, but they weren't. There was no interior. I think that always felt a little messy for CIG's taste, so I could see them not wanting to do that with the Starfarer.
Need to tell him about the Connie idea I thought about, because he'll like that. So we were talking, and it just kind of like popped into my head. You know how you've got the Aurora with the wings and all that now, right? You notice how there's 4 nacelles on the Connie. You take the wing idea. So imagine a Polaris. You shrink it down to the size of a Connie, and the wing, the nacelles are like the wings. They fold tapered with the body to make it look like a wedge, so it can land. So essentially like a mini Polaris. Then it takes off. The nacelles crack off and they go straight. So it looks like the old Connie.
Yeah.
Boom. Give me my money. Take my money. I can just see that straight away. And I was like, whoa. And it works on a lot of levels because instead of the hangar bay, you have like just a landing platform for snubs to land on. You can still have the elevator come out the bottom, and you've still got you just take the front landing gear and integrate the elevator into the landing gear like you did on the Apollo. So it's connecting all the pieces of all the ships they've done over the last couple of years and amalgamating into the Connie, and it works. And visually, I'm like, I want that ship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you said it the same way we do, but yeah, or I do. But.
I'm still of the mind, and I've told you this, I'm still of the mind that the Connies are just going to get a rework instead of any sort of Mark II thing. I obviously, like in the near term.
It is,
and if there is a Mark II, I still think
it is the most
away.
Pivotal ship in this game. It is Chris's favorite ship. They're getting all their ducks in a row for releasing the game with Squadron. They've got to get ready for the noobs. They can't have anything dilapidated. If they just did the Aurora, right? Yeah. How much more dilapidated is the Connie than the Aurora?
Yeah. But honestly, even just the new RSI, like interior paneling, flooring, ceiling, all that kind of art stuff, if you just gutted the interior of the Connie and redid the interiors, I still think the exterior holds up pretty well. Now, if you can obviously,
but you can bring in the whole new modular system if you redo everything. So you could literally have an Aquila head on a Phoenix body, but then when you put in the Phoenix module at the back, only the modules inside that will work for the Phoenix. It works on multiple levels, right?
The only thing with that is the Phoenix. The only thing in the Phoenix that is luxury is that body section.
Yep.
Other than that, it's just a straight Taurus. It's a straight Taurus body, head and neck. It's a straight
but they could go the other way too, and they could literally have a modular head, a Phoenix head, and a Phoenix neck, and etc. if they want to.
Yep.
I just think with what they've done here, this ship shows a lot of promise for the future. Like the other thing Argo talked about too was when we sat down with Ben and John, he talked about the Gladiator, and John talked about, well, if you're going to put drop bombs instead of torpedoes in the Gladiator, you'd need it to be a smaller space because the bombs aren't big enough. And then Algared said, well, what if you put a component in there to make up for the extra space? And what do you know, lo and behold, here we have 2 years later, modules, components inside modules. It's a really interesting thing going forward, because now the Phoenix could literally have modules in it, as an example, that are not in the Connie, and the Aquila could that's not in the Andromeda, etc. The whole system is there now for what they want to do, to open and close things that they want to do. They've got no restrictions anymore. They can literally now start to do everything they need to do, and RSI is now that test bed, and RSI is the biggest manufacturer in the game, longest set of law, Aurora all the way to the Bengal. Perfect one to do perfect one to do first, and then everything else will just trickle off that, And the other one we talked about too was the Mustang. That's clearly getting a rework now. It's not for sale on the store. So you're going to get your starter ships ready, because all the new people coming in are going to buy starters. And then that classic lineup of the most classic iconic ships in the game, like the Hornet's now done, Connie. And I think the other one that they're looking at, which this is the one where I think that they would do the internal rework on, the Freelancer. Freelancer looks fine outside. It's a smaller ship. It really is just a crew problem. So rejigging the inside to fit less people instead of 4. It really needs to be to 2 to 3 people, not 4 people. Right, so that's where I'd agree with you on that. But the Connie is just too dilapidated. It's just had issues for years. It was one of those ships that were like the Retaliator and the Starfarer and the Redeemer, the Reclaimer. They had to learn how to not build ships to build ships, and I think unfortunately I can't unsee a Dorito Connie that breaks those nacelles off. It just sounds amazing to me.
Yep.
Like money is gonna fly out of wallets, bro. Like, can you not see that? Like that shit flies out and goes crack crack and just warps off like a Star Trek. And people just go, "Woo!" Well, the money's flying out of wallets.
Yeah, and they said something during the behind the ships, which was, in their consideration of doing this as a modular ship, there was there's work efficiencies there, and that they're not now updating like however many damn variants the Aurora has, right, and doing all that unique geometry per ship, and that one wonders if that's the signal going forward in general to like where where when they discuss redoing an old ship, they go, okay, let's do one and now make it modular to make it even worthwhile, right? Yep. So when you extrapolate that to the Mustang series, the Freelancer series, etc., you start to wonder if that could be a future. Now, there's some bigger differences there between some of those hulls, obviously, Freelancer Max versus the regular Freelancer. But again, if it was a Mark II variant, you could make a hull that accommodates both. Something like the Zeus, where you have a regular Zeus and then you have the Zeus CL with a bigger opening or bigger cargo. So I just wonder now if like with the Mustang redo, if we're actually going to get one Mustang that's modular.
Well, that raises the question.
Makes sense.
And you got me thinking about, like, I was actually looking at the patches for the first 5. We've got the Hornet already done. We've got the Connie, the Aurora done. Of those other ships, the 300i, the Connie, and the Freelancer are the last of the original 5. All of those have multiple variants. Going forward, it makes sense to go that modular. And you'll remember when we talked to John and Ben, we were talking about the Gladiator. They even discussed the idea. We're not sure where we would go variants or modules because that work issue. And that's one of the reasons I think they are actually testing the water to see whether this will actually make them kind of that same amount of cash flow that the others did. So
for example, you bring out a new module for this, and no longer is it $10; it's $20.
Yeah,
people will pay that because they've already got the ship.
Yeah,
and you give you give a $10 discount to the person buying the new ship. So the data module is,
and then the price point. The price point they came in on this ship too. A lot of people were happy with it. I mean, it didn't leave a bad taste in your mouth picking one up. I mean, hell, even I got one for myself through credit, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to grab another one of these to do a giveaway with because of the cheap entry price on this. So I think they were smart with that.
Did you get the starter pack or the chairman?
For myself, I got the chairman's, and then for the giveaway, I did the starter pack.
So this is the only thing that left.
Is really good at the moment.
But this is the only thing that left a bitter taste in my mouth is the skins, because some of these skins people held on to for 13+ years, and they should have automatically rolled over onto the Mark II, in my personal opinion. I think they need to make it a thing going forward. I think it's the same thing with the Hornets. If you had a Mark I skin, it should work on the Mark II. And I think it's the same thing here. They need to make all skins transfer across because legacy should matter. Because if you buy something that's rare and unique and you hold onto it, shouldn't it automatically go onto the newer version? And that, like when you get a PlayStation, the next PlayStation is backwards compatible. It's that type of analogy, right? They need to be backwards compatible. And those people supported you. I think you need to support them. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Grim?
Yeah, I guess I see it from both sides. I see it from the side you're speaking about, which I do agree. I think being able to carry that over is important for, just even future purchasing, where when you purchase something, you want to feel like it has some staying power and stuff like that, and it's not going to be sort of mothballed at some point. On the flip side, just from a straight up 3D person standpoint, it is a unique hull. It's got a unique UV wrap. You could have the same textures, but you're still rebuilding them from scratch. And so from a workload standpoint, I get it. I get it
as well. But I take all that and I give you this. There's not a lot of patterns they need to redo because look, this one's already in, and most of the Aurora skins are just variations of that, right? Yeah. So they're all just like. They're really just recolors of almost the same thing. There's very little extra that needs to be redone. It's the type of thing that I think someone could pop out fairly quickly. And it's a nice to have, and it's we supported you, so you support us type of thing. And I think that's what's missing in my personal opinion. And I know there's probably going to be people in chat that don't have them and they don't give a shit. But by the same token, they also just went ahead and sold them all and just devalued everyone that brought them 10 years ago. So I don't know. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth because I now look at it like I said. Now, what happens when they bring out a Caterpillar Mark II, and my Pirate Edition skin that I've held on to all those years is now sunsetted instantly.
Yeah, I mean, I personally
personally
wish
by the way. By the way, the game's not out yet either. You got to take that into account too. So they never got to have their time in the sun for something they paid for, held on to 13 years, and you didn't drag it forward so they could.
Yeah. No, I mean, hell, even just for people that have the Mark I's of stuff, and then a Mark II comes along, I wouldn't be against some sort of, discount voucher or something for CCU to the Mark II or whatever, just for these people you buy in on a ship or a paint early, and you want to know that it has staying power until we get to 1.0.
So put it into perspective. This skin here, the PAX one, I brought that when it came out for $5. I've had it for 13 years. It went into the game for a month, and then it was sunsetted. Do you know and the game is not actually properly out yet, Toby. Do you know how crazy that sounds?
Yeah.
So I paid money for something. I got it. I waited 13 years, had it for a month, and now it's sunsetted.
It used to be in, and then it disappeared for a long while and didn't work on the ship, and then it came back for a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly it's still the same thing. Still exactly the same.
I don't mind them selling the skins again because that's that whole.
I've got no problem with them selling them as long as they work on the new ship. That's where I'm at.
So selling them again is not a slap in the face.
Issue.
That's just getting rid of that. That's that whole.
Yep.
Everything's going to be available.
Yep. Absolutely agree.
But not having it work on the new ships, that's a bit. I get what you're saying.
That's a massive slap in the face because they supported you for like 13 plus years, and then you get access to it for a month, and then it's literally like that's just
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how many of the old backers still have the Aurora now. There's some people like me who still do, but yeah.
And I know I sound like I'm a whingy bitch, and it's basically a small demographic, but those demographics, those people are the people that started this. And if they weren't there at the beginning, you wouldn't be here now. It's kind of like a build-up, like it's a snowball rolling thing. So if you're not going to go back to the start and support the people that supported you all the way back then, and carry that forward, and it's very little work. I know you can sit here and say, look, but you've already kind of got a pattern that looks very similar to it. It's putting one person on it, and how many skins are there? 20 skins. I worked in Photoshop. I know how long that takes to do. I know it's all going to be connected and all that. I know that, but a lot of those skins are very similar.
I'll tell you one situation where I do hope they create the new skins that match the current ones, and it's kind of a unique situation, but that's the Idris.
Yep.
We know there's a new exterior for the Idris. We assume it's coming to us. They haven't officially announced that, but we know it's in Squadron. And the skins that CIG has really came out with just past Invictus.
Can you imagine if they didn't?
Expensive.
Can you imagine if they didn't?
Right, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, it's not like we're going to get an Idris Mark II with the new exterior. I think it would just be an exterior artwork update. So in that regard, I think they have to make those skins work.
And so,
you know what I mean?
So you have to be so you got to be consistent. You can't just do it for one ship and not for another. That's my point.
Given the price that you pay for those skins for the bigger ships, you want them to transfer.
Pricey.
Then again, $5. Then again, $5 for an Aurora is nothing to sneeze at when the ship costs $45, right?
No.
And then you got to look at. I've got like 10 of them, or however many there are. I've probably got more in skins than I do in ships. As in the Aurora, that is. So and I'm not the only one that's in this ballpark. And the other thing is, wouldn't that also encourage everyone to then buy those skins because they're only available for 2 weeks when they upgrade to the next level? Here's all the legacy skins that you can't normally have to earn in game, but we'll sell them to. Because I said to Algared, what happens when they bring out a Mark III Aurora?
Right. Now, we haven't seen that with like with the old, I guess you call it variant skin, right? And I can think of two ships in particular, the Valkyrie Liberator and Nautilus Solstice. Like those, I assume, based on some changes we just recently seen, I assume those are going to be base models with the Solstice paint, Liberator paint, right?
Agreed.
Are those paints ever sold ever again, or are they considered concept pledge paints where those paints don't ever usually come back? It's a little confusing.
I think, as I've always said, they'll be available in game somewhere. Everything they said in the past, people have kind of looked at for ages and go, oh, they said that 10 years ago. And a lot of the times, if they've never talked about it, that's because it hasn't changed. I can't remember the number of times I said those IAE skins will be earnable in game, or they'll be sold again at another point, and lo and behold, look what happened. And I had so many people telling me I was wrong, and I was just like, can't find whatever. And that's what happened. And Algared was in agreement with me too, but I was just a lot more vocal than Algared is.
Yeah, I will say this, not really a tangent, but still on paints, is that the Aurora Mark II, I think, has been the only ship to come out where I liked every single paint released for it, like where I thought all of them were great. Usually, with no matter which ship, there's like a paint or two I either don't like or I think is a little too similar to another paint for the ship, or it just doesn't validate the cost. But yeah,
you and I have very different tastes. I think they're the lamest skins they've ever done.
Oh, you see, I think they're the best.
I think that's the best one right there. Right. The factory standard is very good. I like that. Well, it's just standard. The shade is as fuck. The Caspian is like, what drugs are you on? The medallion is I'm not from June, but I'm really from June. The shimmer scale is just a Talon Strike.
Right.
Yeah.
So and then the Cloudbuster. Now, the problem with the Cloudbuster is they obviously are trying to do Sky Fox. The problem is when you get close, because of the way the panels break up, it just looks muddy because they should have different colors on different panels and they don't. So it just doesn't work when you get up real close to it. The one I just keep coming back to again and again and again, because it's got some black, it's got some white, it's got some red, and it's got different colored blacks and whites on the panels, is this one. And it's just the best looking one to me.
That's because you like black and red. Like
no, but it's also got the best. It's just got the simplest and
be right back, guys.
Best color breakup, because all the others are kind of just flat colors, and that's why they don't work.
Yeah, like I get where they were going with the shimmer skin, even though it is a Talon Strike skin, because it's it does. It's an Aurora. What Auroras do you have? You got an Aurora Australis and Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
And so having a skin that kind of leverages into that, the Aurora Borealis, I get it.
Well, this one's just really just a retro blue one. It's back to the 70s. That's kind of what that is. That's a retro robotic one. So I get that one as well. But again, I just don't like the ones that are plain colored. I think this one will be okay. I actually haven't looked at this one in game, but again, I just saw the green and went, oh, it's okay. It's what do you call it?
I actually often don't mind the single color skins. It's, plain Jane. But hey, that's okay. Different people are going to like different things, and that's fine.
That's the other thing. Like, you do need to have
like Space always says.
You need skins for everyone. Absolutely agree with that. I just think these are some of the lamest ones they've ever done. There's just not enough variety there for me to when there's only one that I like. Usually I've got a and I didn't do that this time. It was just this was the clear winner.
All right, so I'm going to do a couple of first time chats. We had a first time chat way back, which just said hi, and that was from For Science Star Citizen. He says hi. So hi, welcome to the chat. And the next one, first time chatter, kind of has a comment. Dark Star Grey says has a question. When I try to buy the Aurora Mark II starter pack for a second time, it says I cannot as it's limited to one instance. Yep, and they often do that these days. Those starter packs are often limited to one per account, which kind of sucks. if you're trying to get it and give it away. But yeah, it's not a bug. It's what they kind of do because it's such a discount. If you're wanting to get one to give it away to someone, and it's limited to one in the account, right? So if you get one and give it away, you could buy another one at a time. Yep. But if you've got a friend who's doing that, get them to create the account. Get them to use your Star Citizen code to start you on the way of getting, referrals, and then buy them the packet. And then, but you can't tend to have two of those really super discounted packs in your account at the same time. But welcome to the channel. Sorry.
No,
I'm back to the discussion.
You are all good.
That's an insult. Yes, we have answered. We have given the apology for not agreeing that the modules were modules for an Aurora Mark II, even though I think they said they were for an Aurora Mark I, but hey, that's okay. Matt P1337 says, critique my hammerhead theory. Its top turret will be modified to be movable from top to bottom, facing like the Scorpius turret. Also, there will be a beam module for the variant.
I'm not really sure where they're going to go with a variant, but it sounds like it's going to have one just from based what the monthly report's saying. But I kind of sit here thinking, what are you going to make it? And besides just making it so it's got a different set of turrets, I just can't see where else you'd kind of take that. But could you go as far as making a refinery ship or something bizarre out of it? Absolutely. But again, it's becoming harder and harder to detect what they're doing because of what they've done with the modular systems now. So yeah, it's just tough.
Yeah, I'm out on a limb here, but I'm still thinking turret blades that somehow work on the new gold standard hammerhead, and that's going to be the new hotness. I could be wrong.
Yep. So soon it's going to get to a point where you need to do questions because my Discord has frozen. So just so you know.
Just restart Discord. You'll be fine.
Yep. It means I can't scroll through the questions. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Parker XGPS says, how long do you think it will take CIG to sell additional modules for any ship beyond the first offer? Since CIG have yet to add odd modules to to ships after a first offering. Yeah, it depends on the gameplay. So if new gameplay comes out they want to do, then they are going to do that.
Right, I have to send no.
That's okay. My Discord has, in a flurry, has updated. So yeah.
We're obviously just having connection issues. Okie dokie. That is.
I do think that the Aurora is unique in its modularity, and that its modules are sort of these little self-contained, boxes that have this and that type of functionality, even with component capabilities and stuff. But they don't technically have walkable interiors, or they don't change the fundamental layout or inside of the ship. So I do think they're an easier lift than even something like a Retaliator module or something. So from a modularity standpoint, it kind of doesn't get any easier than this. So hopefully they can pump these out fast.
But that's why I'm so excited that these modules are out and what it may mean to the Gladiator. So cargo pod for the Gladiator, so it fits in with lore. Bomber pod for the Gladiator, so it fits in with what you take the DS module, get rid of missiles, chuck bombs in, bang.
Yeah.
There's your bomber pod for the Gladiator. You give it the cargo pod, bang. Strip out the missile torpedo bay, put a cargo pod in, bang. You've got that for it as well. It's that the fact we've got that for the Aurora just for me really does scream possibilities for the Gladiator. So I'm excited for that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. All right.
Boom 3 Actual says, do you think there is a Black Ops insertion ship or a stealth courier ship coming? Something for 2 to 4 people for highly dangerous tiny cargo packages to SCU size.
The Redeemer.
I will say the Prowler has kind of this Black Ops.
Does the same thing.
The Redeemer and Prowler.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of those are kind of already in, aren't they?
Yeah. Prowler probably on the smaller crew size, the Redeemer more up in probably the 4 or 5 maybe. But yeah.
Well, you can do 2 in a Redeemer up to like 6, you know, and depend. And the module they talked about, the module at the moment is the long range module, but they said the most likely module is the original one that was pitched, which was the dropship one that had extra people. So you can have a long range craft or a short range craft.
I really hope they do go back to ships that don't all have a jump point, and ships that can't add a jump drive. I don't see them doing it, but I really, really hope they go back to that idea of ships that need the carrier-borne ships need to be on a carrier. Give them quantum jump, fine, but the jump drive should be, in my opinion, limited to those. But I don't see them doing it because there's too many people would feel stuck in a system, even if it was a courier system which would transport your ship to the new system. I just don't see it. But I'd like to.
Yeah, one thing I do really find interesting too, though, about the way the Aurora does modularity versus the way a lot of other ships do modularity, where it's sort of limited to the vehicle loadout manager. With the Aurora's modularity, you could technically now take an Idris or an Ironclad or anything that can carry some cargo. You got plenty of extra modules for ships. You got a trio or 2 Auroras flying out. They can always come back, land, switch out the module on the fly with tractor, just your FPS tractor beam weapons, switch that out. Now the role of the ship has changed versus any other modularity we have, which is done through the vehicle loadout manager just by the nature of it's kind of just an interesting little thing about this, and I kind of wonder if that concept of modularity will scale up to something larger.
Well, I know Execute will remember this. I'm not sure you will, but the Connie was originally supposed to have a upgradable module that when you're in the neck and you've got that bay on the as you're looking down towards the engineering, that bay on the right hand side. That was supposed to be a module bay for either track, a mapping suite or something else. So, are we going to get that type of modularity coming in the future?
Yeah,
I wonder.
It's just you can tell they've had all these plans for such a long time, and it's just taken so much time to get things past Star Squadron and into Star Citizen, and you're seeing all that come to pass. Whatever they started working on last year, clearly ships have gone to a different level. You're starting to roll out in the missions now. Like you go in a game right now, all these missions you can do to unlock patterns is ridiculous. Like you take that to the next level where you add skins and items and ships. There's just going to be so much to do in game. It's just going to be ridiculous.
You are going to have specialist crafters and
the giveaway Big Luca we've already given one away. That's gone. The Mark II will be on the review, the buyer's guide on the weekend. Thanks for reminding us. So let people know. Right,
Aaron, let's have a question.
Please.
They say with crafting upon us and fuel refining coming soon. Wink, wink. What are the chances of seeing synthetic or organic polymers becoming something in-game, and how could these be implemented?
The entire crafting system is missing almost all the organics. We've only got ores and salvage at the moment. We don't have trees, wood, animals, plants, big game hunting, gases, liquids. Like we are literally at the embassy.
Yeah, but what we do have clearly shows us the potential for massive growth for this gameplay loop. Again, it's really just about creating.
How am I going to build my SE if I can't have the leather seat? I need to go hunt down a copian and get the right skin.
Sure.
And anytime something's broken, they can just add a new component that makes a better version or whatever. You know, like it's just.
I could even see a future with the blueprints where like they're not always just a reward for something. I could see you being down at the very bottom of some facility, and there's a random terminal that if you can hack it, we will give you a blueprint. You know what I mean? It'll tie in a hacking gameplay, and then you hack it, and then boom, you get like this rare blueprint that's there. You didn't really do the mission. It was just a little Easter egg you can find while on a mission. Maybe
you can get an Aurora Mark 1.
Why are certain skins only linked to one place? Why can't they be found in multiple places? And in multiple different ways, and rewards you for exploring or researching or going off the beaten path and all that type of stuff. But absolutely.
They will, I think, in the long run. But at the moment, it's like you often say, where do they want us to go testing? Where are we going to put all the cool rewards? Because that's going to draw everyone into that area. It's a no-brainer. As to why they're doing it and why they're in that area. But I think they're going to be everywhere in the long run.
Again, we're just saying those, like, it's all locked behind tools. This whole game, when we were at CitizenCon, Elliot said, I can't make a lot of the missions I want to make because I just don't have the tools. They couldn't make modular ships because they didn't have modular ships. It's just that simple. And now we're seeing this progression from Squadron to Star Citizen. It's just going to ramp up.
And that's where all those dependencies really kind of complicate development, but you can see how it's going, why they waited. So, for example, one I would think of with Elliot and missions is, let's say it's a mission tool that allows you to populate an area with objectives and all that kind of stuff really easily. Well, then what happens when Starkitect comes on? Does that tool plug into Starkitect created locations or POIs? So it's like one piece of tech holds up another piece of tech, holds up another piece of tech. So.
And then when it comes on, you suddenly get a flurry of...
Well, even this year, you can see it at a very basic level. We've now got crafting. You can now see refining and refueling, and that leads into base building. And then base building, I think you and I were even talking last night, does that lead into shops and auction houses and all that kind of shit? You can see there's this, everything's got to line up to be made. It's just that simple.
Yeah. That's honestly why I think they had to do things like much bigger bases and space stations and all that stuff because we needed something to work towards. If you take some of that end game stuff away, you do start to wonder, well, where was the end game? You know what I mean? What was that top tier stuff?
What's the point of making all these medical ships, right? As an example. So like people go, oh, why is the Apollo just a little bit vague, right? Why didn't we get the full gameplay? Well, in base building, why go ahead and make fully articulated systems if you're going to have to go back and remake them for buildings? Where if you build buildings and now you have a medical shop, a medical ship, a medical building, a medical vehicle, all the systems can be interconnected. You need that foundational part. Base building is essentially as foundational as ships and vehicles. And so you really need that bottom piece.
Yeah. I can imagine even refining getting to a point where you can actually refine the goo.
Absolutely.
Or do you craft the goo? You find the materials and then craft the goo at a cooking station or something like that.
Do you think refining is going to be limited to fuels? Like, think about all the animal components. How closely is refining going to be locked into science? Like exploration, going out and finding the animals, learning the components, like the data, as in we've learned that this animal has a certain complexity. It seems a little bit like hydrogen, and then you go research it more and you find that it's a new form of hydrogen, and it leads into a new. Someone discovers a new battery or a new engine tech based off this animal, and so all of a sudden everyone's out hunting the shit out of this animal.
Well, we already have that kind of in law. You've already got that story aspect that coming in. You can find also skins.
Yeah,
they are from a sentient species in the OSO system. And people want them because they transition and change the color of their skin. They're useful for camouflage.
That's what a lot of science is going to be doing, is just blind researching, trying to see things that fall out. And CIG are obviously just going to probably put a whole bunch of things in there that can be discovered, but a lot of it's going to be trial and error. Because that's how we do it in real life.
Yeah, and remember that a lot of these gameplay loops too are sort of like variants on and of themselves or variants of other gameplay loops. So, we've heard, for example, that salvage is essentially, or like repair is essentially salvage, right? Same sort of concept there in reverse, right? Well, one of the things I think about when I'm thinking about some of the science stuff, certain research, like ways in which you research, or even things like farming. Take future farming, for example. Farming is essentially going to be refining with a different skid on it. You know what I mean? It's going to take two ingredients and then you put those together and you get a certain crop output. Yep. You know what I mean? Whether that's a certain sunlight irradiation, a certain food, and then those things come together, create a certain plant. It's essentially refining.
You can see science as well, though, too, because I've discovered this thing that no one else has, and Algared knows how to do it, as in he knows how to go out and research it. Does he stake the time and the chance that that's going to proc? Like, it might only have a 1% chance of dropping, right? Does Algared take the time to go out and research it for his own and then try and just sell it and compete with me? Or does he just buy it off me?
Yeah. And you see, look, you see that in MMOs already. That's why auction houses exist and why people have shops. I can't be bothered to go and mine all the mine stuff and to spend the time crafting up the skill to get that armor shield. I can just go to the shop and buy it off you.
Or do you buy the pattern off someone as well?
Yeah.
Again, look how orgs are going to work, man. They're going to go out and they're just going to pull all their patterns like a crazy mofo. They're just going to have pattern libraries out for days.
No different than what we used to do in Evercrack and Dark Age of Camelot. We'd have our small group. We'd have someone who was a crafter. Hey, we'd go salvaging stuff. We'd get the materials for that. Yeah, it goes to him. If it was a special recipe you got, it went to him.
Yep.
After the armorer, the armorer's after this stuff. Yeah, okay, right, bang. Always did. So what we're talking about here is no different to what you got in Daok or Evercrack or WoW in terms of the way groups would operate.
Yeah.
And I still love Daok. It's just, it still runs. It's just still a $30 a month or something like that game.
And it looks worse than Argo does.
It probably does, but it's still a great game. It's still the best game. It was such an awesome.
You don't have to have super pretty graphics to have great gameplay.
No.
I remember back in the day when I was doing prototypes and stuff, and it would be like, I remember I was looking at this student's skiing game, and it was literally like a box for the skis, a box for the guy, and he's going down like this heavy polygoned based hill, and there were literally just boxes for trees. But you could play it, and you could see where the guy was going, and it was like, this is actually quite fun to play.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. You don't, so you can get away with like bit, and we see that a lot in indie games at the moment, don't we? We're really simple graphics, but really amazing gameplay. One that I can think of that was really successful was Deep Rock Galactic. You haven't seen that? That looks really pixelated and stuff, but the gameplay is insane.
Yeah, well, you look at the popularity of Minecraft and Roblox.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I don't like them. Same reason I didn't like WoW. I could see where they went with their graphics style, because it to me it resembled the top-down view, the Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2. But I hated the graphic style. I preferred more Lotro or Dark Age of Camelot style. But that was just that was a personal taste. But yeah, great games. But yeah, and yes, Socially Confused. I loved Realm vs. Realm. I love the way you developed and then you went out to Realm and then you developed a new set of skills and stuff, and that made your character totally different. It was absolutely what I still think the best MMO I've ever played. I don't count Star Citizen as an MMO yet. So there, I can still get away with that. Anyway, Citizen Dance. Do you all think there is a small stealth ship coming? Bonuses to emissions. That's a tiny cargo courier. Maybe Black Ops. That's exactly the same question as our previous question about these 2 to 4 people. And we answered that. Probably a prowler or
Maybe eventually, but I think it's a little bit cut for the horse. I think scanning would definitely have to be in. There are tips of the hat to scanning coming though this year.
Well,
already.
they are still talking 2 to 4 people, which is Prowler and
again. There's tips tend to be led by gameplay. What I'm getting at.
Yep.
And so again, up for the horse. Just wait.
Harley Hyena, do you think the Hammerhead rework will possibly get Armory and even fill the empty space of the hull in the middle?
Yeah, that's a good one, Grim. Tell us your thoughts on what you do to update the Hammerhead.
I think it'll get some sort of armory, if not a full armory, then like an armory alcove, of some type. I think I'm actually, I'm ready to be wrong on this, but I'm actually expecting a pretty substantial interior rework. I think there's going to be all new textures throughout. It's still essentially the Aegis kit. I mean, it's not supposed to be anything different than that, but I think there has been a lot of additions added to the Aegis kit recently, though, that I think that would plus that up. New textures, all that kind of stuff, new layouts. Armory makes sense. So yeah, I would say that's a pretty safe bet. I don't think they're going to fill that gap in the middle, though.
I was going to ask, do you think they're going to fill the gap, or do you think they're going to keep it as an iconic feature of the Hammerhead?
I think they're going to keep it. Yeah, I think they're going to keep it.
Sounds a little bit to me like they might be starting to fill out the Aegis kit. That's kind of where my brain's going. Updating it like they did with RSI and fully polishing it out. Starting with a ship like the Hammerhead kind of makes sense because you can kind of go up and down, and then go back and gold passing all of them.
I think it would be, just from a lore perspective, and obviously Algared's expert on this, but like I would love if from a lore perspective they started having Aegis sort of go through this kind of rebranding or renewal, of their brand moving forward, sort of like has happened with Drake, where they've got the new CEO and it's being shifted from, we'll do anything for a buck to more like power to the people, sort of manufacturer, like the blue collar manufacturer or something. So it's a small lore change, but it does make you feel a little different about the manufacturers, and I could see Aegis doing that.
It fits in with what Aegis are doing, because Aegis were really heavily linked in with the Imperator, right? But with the old, not the nice one, but the nasty evil Mezzas, right? So they got, when the Mezzas fell and we got the new system, their military contracts were basically stripped from them. They were blacklisted. And it was only when they started selling, it was ships like the Retaliator, which when they off-sold their old stock and people started refitting them and putting variants in, a new living space, I'll put a cargo space in, I'll put this in. It actually got a new lease of life. And so that's what gave them that new lease of life. So yeah, I could see them going down that rebranding of stuff. And you can almost see that, you've got that
Aegis
putting the brand with the
Aegis putting the power in your hands or something like that. Like, so going from military
Aegis
to civilian. Yeah.
Aegis, power to the people.
Well, that's Drake.
It's I forget what Drake says. Is it like?
No, it is literally power.
It is. It's something specific.
Power to the people. He literally just took Drake's instead of Aegis.
Oh, hey, Drake's a hell of a manufacturer. That's just it. So. But no, I mean, it makes sense. This is what real companies do when they're trying to transition from one image to another. We've seen many times in the past where those rebrands go well. Sometimes they go poorly. But for example, if you look at Aegis's logo and everything now, it's like the letters that form Aegis are really aggressive. They get like the sharp edges on them and stuff that kind of go off into these points and stuff. Almost very kind of militaristic looking kind of branding. But it'd be interesting if like some new branding came along that didn't affect all the old ships, but affected new ships, and it would be kind of interesting to have like, I've got one of the old school Aegis ships, the punk rock ships, and you've got one of the new friendly for consumer versions. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Aegis is fairly old in lore too, but all their ships kind of look the same. So maybe it's like the RSI thing. We need the old style of RSI and the new Dorito looking style as well. So
yeah.
Now, here's something I just realized or remembered as I was just looking through their dossier. Aegis are the company responsible for establishing diamond laminate standard for cockpits, i.e. they're the ones responsible for our see-through glass.
Oh, cool.
So the stuff that's supposed to be as tough as our hull, even though it's see-through.
Cool.
So,
yeah.
There you go.
How old how old are Aegis Algared compared to RSI's 900 and 600? How old is Aegis?
These are 400.
Oh, so they're actually younger than
they're actually fairly young, but so they started in 2532. But the reason they became so popular was because which method was it? Basically, they were favoured by the Mezzers. The Mezzers loved them. They loved their Theodrus, and they loved the Javelin and their bombers, and they sucked up the military contracts and reinforced and were used to put the people down, and so when the Mezzers fell, most of their military contracts were stripped. They almost went bankrupt, and it was only when they basically resold or rebranded the Retaliator to get rid of the old stock and kind of put out a civilian version. We've taken the torpedoes out. Yeah, it's a cargo vessel. That they actually got this new lease of life, and then people, then they were off the market conversions of those pods that people did. But that's what really gave them their lease of life.
Yeah.
Or their new lease of life, I should say.
And, I said this recently regarding Origin, where you've got luxury brands out there like Lamborghini, BMW, or Mercedes and stuff who do industrial machinery as well, all kinds of stuff. I still think it would be fun for CIG. I get the manufacturer kind of focus on certain roles, but it would be fun to see them step outside of that occasionally, which does happen in real life. So I'd love to see Origin's take on a refueler or some sort of industrial ship, or Aegis's take on, I don't know, luxury transport or something else, you know what I mean? I mean, already the Reclaimer is a really interesting Aegis ship just because it kind of sits outside the mole, right? So I'd love to see them do more of that and where that would go. I kind of like when they, surprise us a little bit. I don't think they need to be so prescriptive with these manufacturers that they can't have fun sometimes.
In law, there is a luxury version of the Javelin. Because I think
Starlet had told me that, yeah.
One of the Mezzers lived on it, and so it was because they were afraid of being bumped off, so they basically had their javelin fitted out as their HQ and kind of like their Air Force One, and it was luxury. All the modules were luxury, so yeah, it was a luxury version of the Javelin. I don't know how, there's at least one. But it's out there. Yeah. It's in the law.
The pavilion. I'm trying to think of a name for it. Javelin Pavilion, or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Actually, what are you thinking of Origin ships? What do you reckon that that next one could be? You guys wanted to take a step. Any hints or thoughts?
If they're working on a large
whatever this new one is.
Yeah, if I were going to work on a large ship, and if I were going to do and work on the 600i in any time soon, the 600i cargo, the original version of the 600i was a cargo ship.
Yeah,
I know it's boring. I know it's boring as batshit, but
yeah, I think it'd sell though. I think it would sell. I think a lot of people like the 600i.
Personally, I think it's a 400i variant. That's what I think it is.
Don't disagree with you, but as you know, we've talked about it in the past. So yeah.
The 400i. My concerns there, and I'm sure CIG could prove me wrong very easily. They are doing some really cool stuff with compact interiors now, but the 400i has a really kind of weird interior layout, and I think I could see it making, things difficult if you're trying to like change the role of the ship. Not impossible. I think CIG can do it. Again, like I said, they've been doing cool stuff, but it is kind of a weird layout interior for a ship of its size.
I think specifically, like you could do say something like a 415p or something like that to go along with scanning coming this year. But really what I think it's going to be is they mentioned that there's another generalist coming like the Clipper. And I think that very specifically works really well.
That makes sense.
You've got that middle section where it's got the controlled cargo area. That is just big enough that you could put a bed on one side for a medical bed, and on the other side you could put a fabricator, leaving all the cargo downstairs to still be cargo that you can turn into put into the crafting or medical.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense.
I think that'd be popular.
Yeah, whatever the number.
It makes an easy fix, yeah. 455.
I think we joked about it, the 455F, because it's the
just to go over
455F. F being fabricator and 4 and 5 both being F. I think it's just really funny. That's what I would call it.
Yeah.
The writing team would hate that, but that's the reason you need to do it.
Yeah. But Fantasticola says, "Do you think we're going to get some Argo love?"
I did hear someone talk about if you did a refinery or a refueler, taking the raft and making it into a refinery ship. And I could actually see that. It is about the right size as well. It's big in the expanse. And you could just expand it out, like make it longer if you needed to accommodate more materials and stuff. 2 people on board. It does have some internal space in there where you could it looks like you could have other terminals and stuff. So it is a ship that would work for that case, and I agree.
It would also work for being remodeled as a refueler, because you've got that back area where the controller, where
refining and refueler, same
person
thing,
used to be. So
yeah, absolutely.
So
I mean, I'll say one of the most boring ideas, but I think it would sell well, is essentially a raft XL. A raft that's just longer. I could see that selling really well too. I know it's like a boring variant, but
take the raft and basically hull C or hull D or EFI it. Absolutely. Yeah. I can see that. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think it would be popular. The raft has really developed a pretty big following.
You mentioned a raft that you could literally fold back up and land, and then it takes off, and it's just like, remember Wild Wild West with Will Smith and I always forget the other guy's name, but the train and the spider, how they all just like telescope, like that. But
and given that they cracked that problem that they had with to be able to do that with the the docking collars, which solved the problem for the Hull series.
Wouldn't need that so much on that because there's no internal area, but yes, point noted.
But it does give you that ability to do that and to expand it out and give you that cargo and expanded cargo. So I could see it. It'd be nice to see.
I definitely, now you've I've kind of thought about it. I actually think the refining refueling ship as a raft variant would be way up there as popular. I think that would be very popular, especially something about that size flying around the stations to refuel other ships. And it flies off a little bit, goes to a planet, collects some gases and stuff, and comes back. I could definitely see that. That works really well for Argo, actually. Really, 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 really well.
Yeah, I could see any of those three: the expanded cargo variant, the refueler refinery.
It could be the same ship. A refueler refinery could be the same ship.
Yeah, just a different module.
Ooh. Well, if they make it like a Starfarer, or they could have the same, so it's just both. We'll see. We'll see. Next question.
Rabbit Star Citizen says, the command module for the Cat and the Ironclad. Could this be sold as a separate ship, maybe, as a variant? Yes.
Could, but knowing that they're already modular and they've kind of redone the whole modular system now, I'm more inclined to say it's...
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Would that command module like be the actual ship itself, and have the other bits come off it? Or
I don't know if they will ever sell that command module separately. It just seems like a bit of a weird idea to do so, because it really is if you think about it realistically, right?
It would be a starter ship.
It's like the snub for the Carrack or a snub for the Merlin, right? That's what the command module is. It's a snub. You just don't get to pick what the snub is. And it works a little differently. It's just a reconfigured snub, right? So, yeah, you could sell it separately, but...
You know,
I guess it would be MPUV.
Could you really?
It has the potential to be one of the coolest concepts in Star Citizen, actually, if they had this little ship that could just connect to any platform, you know, a whole bunch of different platforms, but I just don't see them doing that.
But go the other way now. If you sell it separately, right, I can see it detaching from, say, a Caterpillar or an Ironclad and flying over to a Polaris to restock or repair or refuel and then come back. But individually on its own as a singular ship with no mothership, I can see it actually. I can actually see them selling that.
MPUV.
Yeah,
3 ships we've got in game that don't have quantum drive or jump drive.
Yeah.
At least that thing has a quantum drive, if I understand.
Hey, you never know. If they sell it separate, maybe that gives them the ability to sell command module skins.
and
a little extra money.
Yeah, and that little command module already has weapons.
Stop giving them ideas, Grim, you evil man. Can you imagine that you have like a black ironclad and a bright pink command module, and it's like, oh, the clash.
But you look at the command module. It's got beds. It's got an interior. It's got components. It's got weapons. It is its own little ship.
Well,
so it does cry out to be sold individually.
Ninja's got a very good idea. A QT ring add-on for the command module. Absolutely could see that. That's a really good idea. So you fly back down to a planet, install the quantum drive module, zip off to wherever you got to go, come back, drop the module off, and then reattach with the ironclad or whatever, and off you go.
What's really going to get meta is when you have an ironclad being piloted by a command module full of command modules. I'm just saying, it start to get into a weird place with Star Citizen at that point. Or maybe they could sell an upgraded command module, but people
the Caterpillar or the Ironclad's cargo space with command modules.
Yes. So the Ironclad filled with command modules.
Module filled with command modules confused me. I was like, what?
And I thought your joke was bad, Grim, but then how long it took him to get it was even worse. Anyway.
Well, just glad to contribute. And then, like Zombie says, a Mark II command module. Okay, they'll say you the upgraded one. That would get a lot of pushback though. The community wouldn't like that. That'd be the avionics blades of snub ships.
The only reason I kind of rule certain things out is I'm wondering if it's going to end up just being the one command module, because technically they've said there are differences between the Caterpillar and the Ironclad one because of requirements. So that makes me sound like it's more bespoke to each ship. They belong to their own ship.
And that would make sense in terms of the power of the components that are needed to manage those systems on the ships.
Well, one of the biggest ones, and I think from what I was looking at when I was looking at the models themselves, is that just the Ironclad has a bigger crew requirement, so the command module has to have a bigger escape pod crew requirement. So it has to be able to carry more people. So from that aspect alone, I think that's one of the biggest differences in why it's a little longer, because it is probably I measured it way back when it's like 15% longer or something like that.
An extra 4 seats, if I remember, 2 to 4 seats, something like that is why.
It's the Caterpillar and the Ironclad are the only Drake ships, if I recall correctly, that have an escape pod, their command module.
Yes, although we'll see what they do with the Kraken. The only thing is that everyone, including CIG, has said that the Kraken doesn't have command or escape modules. But in the jump point issue, they clearly state that they redesigned certain elements of the main bridge tower to accommodate escape modules. So we'll see what they do there. But I could see a command module being docked to the side of the Kraken. Some special docking column.
One thing that really stuck out when we were talking to Ben and John was the fact that they have oodles of space on the Kraken to play with.
Yeah.
Crap tons of space.
Lots
we
of
can
room.
move stuff around to fit stuff in. It's so the idea that
I have a feeling it got a pretty substantial interior rework, actually. Yeah. So I think when we see it, it's going to be very similar to the Polaris or the Banu Merchantman, where when they showed us the reconcept, it's very different.
But that type of thing says to me, adding escape modules to a capital class ship wouldn't surprise me. I would hope that their escape pods would be the same size. I imagine 8-person escape pods that could be picked up by a MPUV, because that's almost the industry standard for multi-person escape pods.
I would hope so too. That's what's on the 890 as well, right? The same ones. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly the same size. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd want that synergy then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see a luxury MPUV, MPUVP with a luxury pod, just because.
Yeah.
I'll when I finally get the option, I will take one from my 890 jump just to have a luxury.
Wouldn't that
MPUV.
be like a different ship? Wouldn't that be like from RSI or something like that? Less industrial focused if you wanted luxury?
No, because the MPUV is the ship that is the ubiquitous ship for with that link. That's why the escape pod's basically built to that size. It was built for that escape pod was for the 890 was for the MPUV. It was the one that was on the Idris and the Javelin, and so that's why they use that, and then they use the same module on the 890 jump.
Yeah, I think it's a real tricky one, because I don't think you kind of have it. Well, you can, right? But whether you should is another question. And I think that's probably why they struggle with things like that. That's probably why that's literally sounds like how the Phoenix happened, what you're describing, right? Where they tried to take something and then make it luxurious, but it didn't really amalgamate. It's almost like going to try and put curtains on a ship. It just doesn't, they get a flitter all over the place and all that type of shit, and it just doesn't seem right.
But when you take the idea that it's an escape pod, the luxury escape pod is basically just nice.
Which is a nice interior. So almost like first class on an aeroplane, where they only have 2 seats instead of 3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
So it's the same pod. It's just
bigger,
nice
wider
on the
seat.
inside. Yeah.
Well, instead of like 8 seats, it's probably only got 4 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it might be 6. I could be wrong. Might still be 8, but it's certainly the same pod size. And I think it might be 6. I'd have to go back and have a look. Unless someone's a 890 jump aficionado in our chat who can go, oh yeah, it's actually 8 or 6. But yeah, I'd have to go back and look.
All right, next question.
Next question is Dark Tiger. Tiger in the night. With the Ranger radar changes, which ship would you like to an AWACS variant of? Like a Genesis Starliner AWAC.
Isn't the Terrapin a little bit of an AWAC?
Pretty much, yep. Could be, should be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've kind of got a lot of explorers at the moment. I think you kind of want to wait till scanning comes in and see where that's going to pan out. I think some people are going to be surprised with the changes. Like, for example, Carrick's only got a size 2 radar. I think that freaked a lot of people out. But you got to remember, it's mainly for space. You need a more detailed scanner for planet than you do for space.
Yep. Same person. Is it going to be obtainable in game?
What?
Following on the question.
Just go on to the next question, because that's out of context.
Probably. No, it's linked to their previous question, which was linked to radar. Would it be obtainable in game? Yeah.
It's not really a question. If you read it again, Algared, it's not a question, because they just happened to say question in what they were saying, not bracketed. Anyway, next one. Spike 6.
Spike says, I want to know, will this year be the year I can grab a CCU to an F8C so I can go LTI?
Hopefully so. Marketing has been opening up a lot more things.
Yeah.
It's their choice.
I would think so. Yeah. I think if there is going to be any chance, it's going to be Invictus for sure. Even across all the other events this year, Invictus seems like the place they would do something like that.
Yep. Parker X GPS says, wonder if retired ships will get blueprints. I would be surprised if they didn't. Because what I'd expect you'd find is that they'll use those either blueprints for celebration events, big things that are going on, 10th anniversary specials, do these missions and get the blueprint and build your own Aurora Mark 1 ES LN SE. So yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And Grim obviously agrees, but yep. You don't want to add any more to that, or
he's eating food, can't you tell? Food in his face.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, I just think and I hope that CIG does whatever possible to give more choice to players. You know what I mean? And more control over their fleets. And I do think CIG does a somewhat good job of that already with the CCU stuff, the ability to melt stuff without going to some sort of refund system and all that. Again, I think there's flexibility there, but I do hope in general, it's just a general statement that they allow us to kind of get where we want to be on what we want to own easier. You know what I mean? So
definitely there'll be at least one day before it all kind of, they're gonna have to open it all up to allow people to spend their credits and all that type of stuff anyway. So
Joseph, is modular insurance still a thing? If so, would the Aurora Mark II modules sold with the ship be LTI as well? CIG haven't said it's not still a thing, so I'm going to assume it is. And yes, if they're sold with the pack, then they would be. Is my take.
That's really interesting because that would mean your pack idea is not as great because the individual modules you buy don't have LTI.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it still makes the pack a good. That pack is still a good.
Yeah. I was unsure how that worked with the modules and insurance, but
I have in the past heard both ways. That no, they're just modules, and it's the ship that's got the LTI. But I've also heard the other, and I don't know which one it is, but I'm guessing it would. And yeah, it does mean the modules that you buy with your if you buy the modules separately for your Aurora Mark II, they don't have LTI.
Yeah. And not to tangent, but it's still insurance related. I think it's possible we could see insurance implemented in a real way this year if we get that item recovery, what's it called now, tier 1, tier 2, whatever they're about to move to. I do wonder if we're going to sort of get with that our first iteration of insurance, like active insurance in game where you renew your policies and all that with a UEC if you want. And if that's the case, then what all will it apply to? Is it just FPS gear? Does it apply to modules, ships? Like how far are they going to take that? So we'll have to see.
Well, I know some ships do have LTI on their components. I think the Endeavour's components originally came with LTI when they were originally sold. I think that's the only one I can recall. But I don't know. I'd have to go back and do a bit of digging in looking at stuff. Yeah. I think that was probably a wait and see.
I would think they have to, the more I'm thinking about it, because I just see Robert JT's remark there in Twitch about the Galaxy modules. Again, you're talking such a large part and piece of the ship, and it's like its entire functionable role. How would it not be insured? Well, you know what I mean? Like, Yeah,
so the Galaxy modules came with LTI. The Endeavour's modules came with LTI.
Right, okay.
So So that's what he's saying there. The Galaxy modules do, though, talking about LTI. So, yeah,
okay, gotcha. Okay.
Just Right says, and Retaliator. So, so if that's the case, Retaliator modules come with LTI. The Galaxy came with LTI. The Endeavour came with LTI.
Right. So you have to assume that will.
So you got modules that have, and then you got modules that haven't, and so yeah.
I could see it adopting the ship's policy, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a part of it's a wait and see. So the Just Right says the module the Aurora Mark II modules are the only ones not to list any insurance at all. But usually when they've been bought in packs, they get the in the past it's been they get the whatever the ship's got. But if you buy it separately, that could be a different thing, and yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah. And don't think that CIG couldn't have just made an oversight either. That happens a lot.
But even if they are not LTI, I do expect you're going to be able to buy in-game insurance for those modules or those bits and pieces. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just something you'll need to continually invest in, whereas LTI means you don't.
I even wonder, like, maybe CIG won't do this. I sometimes wonder if even if your insurance expires or like you don't have any insurance on an item, if you do lose it, I partially wonder if you're going to be able to go file a claim for it even without insurance, and it will then ask you, do you want to purchase a more expensive policy premium, even because you've already lost it, so you're gonna have to pay a premium, but you can get it back. I know that would seem that's a little weird, but I could see CIG doing that just because of a way to mitigate friction. But we'll see. That's just something I've thought about.
Yeah, a bit like the expedited version that we've got at the moment.
Yeah.
I have heard that one of the, and I'm not sure if this is coming from CIG because it's so long ago, or whether it's fan hopium, but the idea that even if you lost your ship, you'd still get it back, but it's going to take a long time. Or it'll, so, or it still sits in your hangar, but you've got to then pay UEC to get it repaired. So,
well, we talk a lot about the expansiveness of things in the game that we're going to be able to own. We're starting to see it with blueprints, and we're going to build bases and create vases and armors. I mean, everything under the sun, space stations. You can take this whole insurance thing and just exponentially spread it out all over all those items, and you quickly start to see how insurance could have be a real gold sink for this game.
It doesn't list any.
Yeah, for the Aurora modules, that's what they're saying.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting.
But just picking up what you said, Grim, if we had, when the blueprints come in, they say, okay, you bought the ship, you've actually got the blueprint for the ship you bought. If you bought cash for it, which means the ship gets destroyed, you've got the blueprint sitting there. Can I get my ship back if I don't have insurance? Yeah, but I've got to build it.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them doing something like that as well. So, whole slaver of options they could do, but which one?
Or at the very least, it could be. I don't know. I could see there being some salt over this, but I could see that being part of like pledge packages for ships. So ship goes flight ready, you can buy the base model. You can buy the model that's got the 2 modules, and then you could buy the model with 2 modules and the blueprint. Along with the special limited edition paint or whatever. I could definitely see the blueprint of the item becoming another a tribute for a certain package sale for a ship, like one of the higher tier packages or something. We'll see if they do that. I know there's a little bit of people already talk bad about the idea of CIG selling blueprints, but I do think that's going to happen. I'm very convinced blueprints are going to be sold for real dollars. Good or bad, I think it will happen. Maybe not for ships, maybe not for some key items, but I do think you're going to see furniture blueprints and other things all over the store.
Dustin and Salt said, did we notice that the electro hull is not in yet? Yep. The electro hull skin. Yes, we do know it's not in yet. What's the next starter ship to get a Mark II going to be? Reliant, Avenger. We did talk about that later, earlier Master Gunner. So I'm sorry if you weren't here. You may need to go back and have a look at that.
The Master Gunner was the answer.
Yeah. Aaron Lentz 5002 says, what's your opinion on the new inventory system? How well does it work when the field looting and using it in game?
Massive step
I haven't done it in game yet.
Massive step forward, but it's still got some issues. I don't like how tiny the icons are. I want some way to be able to mouse over and it becomes big so I can see exactly what it is. But at the moment, I feel like I got to drag it onto the character, look at it, and drag it off because I can't make it out because it's an inventory for ants.
And unfortunately, when you've got millions of items like UI and probably Grim have picked up over the years, your home hanger looks like an absolute nightmare.
And you've only got to look at it like the character's this big on the screen, and that's most of, say, an undersuit is a good example, right? Yeah, you take that undersuit, and you shrink it down to an icon this big. You can't even tell what color it is in a lot of instances. You know? They just all look black and muddy.
Yeah, agreed.
You can basically tell black and white, and that's about it. So it, yes, you can mouse over and it gives you a text description, but doesn't mean shit because I don't know what the perforated blah 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 is. But I can look at the color and I can see it's a red undersuit. Cool, great. I know what that is. So it needs some way to preview them.
Yeah, and that's our inventory, our new inventory UI as well. I feel the exact same. Massive improvement, huge step forward. Still has a few issues. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I felt that way when it was in Evo testing. I was like, oh, this is great. It's a good start, but this isn't where it will need to be for 1.0. But definitely a step forward.
So Sergeant Perry has a question about. We did talk about this before the show, X. So Sergeant Perry says, in a similar topic to sunsetting, did you hear about the Mole Carbon and Talus owners getting their pledges changed to paints instead of a special
ship? All time we've talked about it today.
So there you go. Can't recall us talking about it on the show today, but I do remember.
I brought it up. It's come up multiple times. I brought it up. Pissball Pete brought it up. You've now brought it up. Yep.
So, it is something that's happened. It's a good thing to see.
We even talked about how it would probably roll over to other ships too that have similar things, like the I don't know, pick one, Constellation Phoenix Emerald, or the Best in Show Reclaimer.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. They'll all become skins. They'll become a pack with a skin of the ship.
Yeah.
Has the Carrick Expedition already moved to that yet, or is that still a unique thing?
But that would be one of them, would it not?
That'll be one. Special blast. Virogenics says, will CIGs be selling Mark II versions of ships instead of fixing the old version to gold standard? Yes and no.
Really,
the Aurora Mark I has been sent to gold standard. And then retired.
Really depends on the requirements and how dilapidated they are. That's why we always talk about the older ships. They're the ones that they had to go through to learn how to make, you know. And there's a myriad of those at different states, because obviously the earlier it was made, the more problems it's going to have. And they have updated them over the years. But you look at something like the Mark II that's come out and the Cutter, those newer ships, you can instantly look back at some of the other, and let's just say the Stars, right? We talked about the Mustang today. That clearly is now lacking a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably the next worst after the Aurora. I'm trying to sit there and think if there are any other starters there that are particularly bad. Can't think of any.
I can
not bad, but
I was going to say maybe making them make MPUV actually modular. This is the only other one I can really think of.
Yeah, because it's modular is in the name, and yet they're not modular.
That's it.
The Pisces is one it's a great starter, but they need to do more with it, and I think they could do more with it. The C8R being very popular, I think the C8 platform could be there could be another variant or two in there.
There was a variant, and it got turned into a skin. It was the C8 and the C8X. Me and Algared way back said you need a scanning ship so when the Carrack finds a jump point, a large ship, because obviously jump points changed, right? But back in the day, jump points were different sizes. So if you had a small jump point and you found it with a Carrack couldn't go through it. How do you fucking navigate and map the jump point? Well, you need the Pisces has to map the jump point. And then something changed. And so therefore you don't need it to have a scanning suite anymore. So that what had been called the C8X or Expedition became a skin. They just changed things. That's what happened. And so it just became the same variant as the others. But would it be nice to have a C8X scanning variant that goes down and scans the planet to look for resources? Abso-fucking-lutely. I'd remake it personally. I think it's still a completely valid ship. And yes, they've kind of given that functionality to the Scout. But what if you put the scanner on the bottom? That would make it more like the Odyssey, would it not? Like a smaller Odyssey that goes onto the Carrack.
And the difference is the Scout is not a C8 variant. It's a cutter variant. So
yes, but it goes into double up territory.
Yeah. So but when it's
there are different you got pathfinding, expedition, and I always forget the third one. So you just make it so that they're the other ones.
Yeah.
You know?
But the reason you'd want it for the Carrack is because it's the snub ship for the Carrack, or the small ship for the Carrack. The cutter doesn't fit in that hangar. So
point noted. I'm just talking about double ups, but yes.
Yeah. But it's that type of reason you'd want that. The other one I could see them doing that type of stuff with, and I think we talked about it before, would be I could see them doing it with the Aurora. I could see them doing it with Connie. I could see them doing it with the freelancers, although I think that's probably more an internal rework. 300i is a possibility. I could see them bringing that down to a single hull with component parts. Similar idea. Getting rid of 5 and just bringing out 1. But
I'll be honest, I'd be doing the 100i treatment more than I'd be doing the 300i. The 100i needs it way more than that does.
Yep. Well, I'd do both of them, but I'm just looking at those original 5, and they're the original 5 ships. 300, Hornet, Connie, Aurora, Freelancer. So they're the oldest ships.
It's also any that came very quickly after that, like the Caterpillar, the Retaliator, the Starfarer. Again, even just going straight in front of those, you start to see the older they are, the more problems.
The ships were basically in the old metric, the ones that were kind of jury-rigged to fit into the new metric. So, yeah. The Revengix says, will they sell the Banu Merchantman Mark II soon? No, because the Banu Merchantman's not in-game, so they can do whatever they like to it.
I think some people have had the Mark II treatment go to their head. Maybe 10 years from now they'll do a second Banu Merchantman. Maybe. We'll see.
Once it's been out in game and it's worn out and broken and all the rest of it,
Realistically, the smaller a ship is, the more likely it's going to get an upgrade because it just takes less time.
Yep.
That's simple.
Fantisacola says, don't you think the Aurora Mark II is being made also in readiness for atmospheric flight?
Yes.
Everything is getting that.
You know, the wings, the fan.
The wings will give it better. Yep. It's still got the VTOL, so yeah.
Will it be a better fighter in Atmo than some of the other ships?
It's a beautiful little nippy ship, though. I love the way it flies. Deplorable Infidel 71 says, could the ship related to the Hammerhead be a new refueling ship?
Yes. I did kind of say that. I hinted at refinery version of it, but again, refinery refueling is, I think they're pretty connected. I even said take the hole out of the Hammerhead, flatten out the turrets. Remember that image I sent you? I think I sent it to both of you, but I know I sent it to Grim. You remember I called it the flathead? Can you imagine the flathead, but it's like a refinery or a refueler? Like, it would work, would it not? In a weird way? I'd have to go back and find it. It was like a year ago now. I'd never be able to find it if I went looking for it, I don't think.
I could see a better variant of a Hammerhead being a Legionnaire style boarding ship, because it's got that great big boarding point at the nose. Give it a Marines department, or more spaces for Marines or borders, and or an armory, and Bob's your uncle. Your gunners become your Marines in that sense. So yeah.
Man, okay.
But I think for refueling, you're probably better. I think there are other holes that fit better to that role.
Absolutely.
For Golem.
Absolutely.
But could they do it? Yeah, absolutely as well. So. All right, Robert JT, take care. Sleep well.
Hey, Robert.
Socially Confused says, are the command modules interchangeable between the Ironclad and the Cat? You were suggesting they may not be. I think it's a wait and see, and I could understand if they're not.
Agreed.
I think this one's for you, Griff. Griffin Gaming RPG says, with modularity improving, do you think that either the Caterpillar or the Carrack will receive their due over the next 2 years or few years?
I think the Carrack specifically has got to go through a rework interior-wise, especially on that bottom floor. I think it's going to get a little bit of like Hammerhead treatment. I think they're going to totally redesign how that works. It's just very outside of anything CIG does. And what was the other ship? The Caterpillar?
The Caterpillar.
Yeah, that one I think is more, where the Carrack I think is more a limited set of changes interior for its cargo or modular components. I think the rest of the ship is fine. I think with the Caterpillar in my opinion is dealing with a situation much like the Reclaimer, where I think a lot of its interior is going to have to be completely redone. And I think they're going to do that to the Caterpillar.
Yeah, I think the Caterpillar's modularity is also a problem built from the Endeavour. It's a mini Endeavour in terms of the things they said or hinted it could do. The only difference to the Caterpillar versus the Endeavour is they sold Endeavour modules, whereas the Caterpillar they never did. Yeah, so they can get away with doing whatever they want. But I think if they want the modularity, and they've said, and we asked Ben and John, and they said, yeah, the modularity is still on the table. It's not something they've taken away.
I had to go back to June last year, but I found it.
Okay.
That's what I sent to Grim.
What did it? Oh, yeah, that thing. I remember, yeah, the duck bill, yes.
Yeah,
I remember
I called it the flathead.
The flathead, yeah.
Paddle. It's paddling time. Yeah.
Well, Algared, now we know what entertaining you get up to. Whoa. Whoa.
Now.
Self-report.
That was
Get out the whips and chains. Mike Algared.
I was doing a Simpsons reference, That's a paddling.
Yeah, sure you will.
I do think we're in for some Hammerhead gold standard surprises, though. I really do. I think the reason it's being positioned as an Invictus ship, so to speak, in 4.8 is primarily because of that. It's going to be a bigger deal than just like we reworked some stuff inside.
Yeah, it does look a bit like a tick.
If you look at the God, I got to go to the right one now. Was it this one with the 4.8? If you think 2 months from now, that's May, that is Invictus. So the refueling and refining stuff, all at Invictus.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you remember, I think they have it listed on there too, the ability for ships essentially to repair, rearm, refuel. Again, the refueling missions and all that, all kind of. I think it's in there.
No, it's a ship hangar service is what you're thinking of. It's not.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So it's not repair. It's just inside, say, a Polaris hangar.
All right. I was going to say, does that mean it's going to the Idris and the...
Yes.
I would think so. But where I'm going with that and even the refueling services, I think that's all coming together for, again, those tactical fleet ops, you know what I mean? Which refueling is going to be a major component of that because it's assets. So, yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. That type of stuff is really going to bring the ships like the Idris into the right, where, you know, you send your 3 fighters out. Okay, the fighter's getting knocked up a bit. Bring it back in. It docks. You repair it. It goes out again. Or it's used as missiles. You come back. You reload. You go out again.
Just that alone.
Yeah, when you
when
you think about it,
is really going to show which ship is better, the Kraken or the Idris.
Yeah,
because of the having
these
to come in and quickly
fleet ops
land is going to be.
Yeah,
but
well, I guess not the
is
technical
gonna
things,
cover us,
but the instanced environment in this regard is going to be a real boon to that particular feature set of carriers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, when you're kind of, I know the instancing and the future of instancing is a little bit controversial for some people. I do think it's a must for any MMO, but I think instancing now is another way we got to sort of think about some of these ships going forward, because maybe their usage, maybe their benefit really shines in the instanced environment versus the open world environment. Sort of the way you would think about World of Warcraft and a talent build. You might have one talent build that's perfectly suited for raids and another one perfect for the open world, you know?
Yeah. One for the arenas, one for the raids, and one for the open world, yeah. Going back into my very old.
I think instancing with PvE is a lot more prevalent than instancing with PvP. I think PvP really needs to be on the dynamic servers. So if you're doing something in actual open world, you know, leave it dynamic. But if you're going into like a PvE environment, doing like a raid or a dungeon, that's a lot more poignant for an instant environment that you're never going to notice it, because you're not going to, especially, you know, they got what do they call it, exclusive, and with the rock cracker, they use really stupid names for it instead of just saying
I forget what I tried to think of it on my stream last night. I couldn't think of it,
but that's essentially what they are. That's like, do you want to do PvP versions of it, or do you want to do just an instance version of it? And that's essentially what they're testing.
And if if you've got to take a group through, if it's a raid and you're taking a group through, man, I get what you're saying, because it's a bit like Daok, right? Daok, you had the PvE area, which was almost a newbie area, and then you had the PvP section where everything else was.
Can you imagine how shit that's going to be, though, Algared? Like, you go in with your group of 5 friends, and me and Grim see you go in, and we're like, oh, let's just get... But they only went with 6 people.
Let's just screw them.
Let's go get 20 people and just come in up behind them. They get to the last boss, we just wipe them all out and steal all their shit.
But the thing that gets me is not necessarily the PvP aspect where you've got Zerg on Zerg. That's great in an open world where you're literally going everywhere. But in an instance, when you're doing a raid and you've got 30 people in the raid, you spend 90% of your time just organising, you know, herding cats. Even, you know, raid leaders would be doing a raid net, right? No, you know, you're herding cats. So I get what you're saying. You really do want those instances, those raid areas, kind of an instance where it's a different gameplay mechanic. It's not, you're not doing a Zerg at those things. It's you're doing game content with your that requires a raid. Yeah, so I think it's different. It is different.
One thing. Oh, go ahead. Next.
Well, you say what you need to say.
I was going to say real quick on the subject of us talking about those hangar services. Someone pointed this out to me yesterday, and I not 100% this is new verbiage, but I think it is, because I used to read this article a lot. But on the Galactopedia under Kraken, for example, I think the verbiage has changed a little bit, where it says has 6 pads equipped with repair and refueling stations. Now, we knew the Kraken was going to be able to do that, but I think that's the first time I've ever seen it where it says the 6 surface pads have repair and refuel capabilities there. And you know, we see so much of those ground fueling ports on ships. I'm very curious if the pads are just going to have automatic VMA vehicle, you know, or vehicle landed.
Is it running a hose out and plugging it in?
Yeah. Really curious about that. But just as a little side, because we were talking about hangar services, it was someone pointed out to me about that.
It is an interesting one, because it's that whole idea. You can rearm, repair, refuel ships as long as you've got the resources on your ship to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the lifts in the Idris where you can go up from a cargo bay and bring the stuff down. I would expect you have something similar to that on the Kraken, where you can bring the materials up, or all the stuff where you can get access to those materials, whether it's a hose or
that. I think that was a big part of their interior reconcept past Algared, because on the previous cutaway there was really no good way to get cargo to the main deck, the main landing pads.
That's right.
There was the air car, but there was no way to get it up. So I think that's a big part of the change.
And you had the real thing they had was just access for crew from the ships, from the from the decks down to the living space in the ship. And but you're right, there was no real way to get the cargo up to the stuff, or get the cargo down.
I'll just have some kind of elevator that comes up from the hangar to the deck and back down. It'll be pretty simple. That's what we do in aircraft carriers.
But that's what Grim was saying. There didn't used to be space for that, and
that's part of that traversal that I think they've been working on, that flow. Which hopefully with the well-defined Drake kit, we're going to see soon with the Ironclad, hopefully makes flow aesthetics, easy to do for them.
So there's some stuff going on at my house, so I need to make a move. So can we get through these quick questions pretty quick? Because I need to move.
Beskar King's Shade has a question. It's one of the reasons I actually originally went chasing LTI. It was, what happens when your starter ship pack with 3 months insurance and you get to 4 months and you lose your ship? How do you get around it? How do you keep a player playing and not delete the game?
You just got to keep paying your insurance.
It
becomes in-game insurance.
You update your insurance. So it's not your insurance runs out and you can't do it. You just update it. Doom4419 says, with the changes on the mole variants and skins, do you think they will do the same with ships such as the 2 Ares? Down the line, I think they'll do exactly the same.
I'd like to see them, in fact, trying to redo the Ares completely and make them Kruger, personally. But
there you go.
Guys, I have to run. I'm gonna let y'all close out the show. Have a good one.
You take care.
Easy, guys. Bye. See you.
I don't need to say anything. I've corrupted you. There you go. Monster Avery says, if you were going to rework the 100 and or 300 series, would you do a Mark II and fix the numbering, or just make the 3 and 200 series?
Really doesn't matter. It's just a number. Clearly the 200 series is probably going to be the medium. And it's probably just the order they came out in. So the 200 series is just newer than the 300, or older, than the 300. So it just has a higher number, or lower number.
I don't think the numbering matters. If I was doing the Mark II, I'd just drew just the one model and used modules for them. Sound Gripper, with all these Mark II questions, at least no one's asked about skid marks. Well, thank you. You did. What are the chances that the new refueling ship will be a Drake to sync with the Ironclad? Anything's possible.
Yep.
Project Gnome 1961 says, do you think the Reclaimer or Caterpillar will be worked on first? Or which do you think will be worked on first, basically?
I think because they're working on Aegis stuff, and due to its complexity and need for the game, the Reclaimer's probably got a bigger need in the game than the Caterpillar, just because of salvage over more cargo. That's my 2 cents, unless they make a Caterpillar salvage variant, which is also possible.
Which is possible as well. They did talk about that in the past. So, I'd go with Reclaimer.
I can only give you the best educated guess. I can't give you a guarantee.
Yeah, we're not inside John and Ben's head, but I'd go with Reclaimer as well, based on what we've seen. Akavalici72 or Akavalici72 says, Aurora SE worth the price? What do you think? I'll quote you, Execute. Aurora Mark II is king, or Mark I is dead. Something like that.
Yeah, it was basically, I look at it from, I look at it from function, and the Aurora's dead, and it's a small starter ship. Yeah, it's going to be a nice rare thing to have, but what function does that give you? So if you're one of those people that like bling bling, then get an Aurora.
That's a ship for you. But
if you just want the function, then just get the Aurora Mark II or get another ship. It's just.
The Mark II is the RSI starter ship going forward. The Mark I is yesteryear.
Do you like driving around in an old school Jaguar, or do you like rolling around in the brand new Ferrari?
And if you like, get both. If you don't, pick one.
Personal preference.
The Mark II will carry two SU more cargo. That's, but yeah, they're 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Griffin Gaming did ask that last question, which was, will Modularity ever come to the 600 series, or will they remain as an experience? I would hope that it becomes modular like the Galaxy. It is meant to be modules. I know they sold them as two separate things, but there's no reason you can't just sell them that they own. The one you buy is the module they came with. So it would be great to eventually, and I believe there's a pack Algared and actually comes with both modules as well, from what you told me in the past.
With the pack, the touring module, or the touring, is just the ship, and the exploration is just is an exploration module, not the ship.
Yep.
So.
All right. So to keep this nice and short and sweet, Paul is actually playing Star Citizen with Loken. So we're gonna raid.
We're gonna raid the Inforunners.
Fellow Inforunners. Just have some questions for Paul and Loken, and just ask them their thoughts on the new Mark II Aurora. I think that's pretty short.
Take all your modular questions to them as well. Yeah.
Get some more questions in there too for Paul. Yeah. What would he like to see?
Where does he see Aegis going?
All right, Twitch say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oof.
And they're gone. All right, let's have a listen in.
Man, let's listen in.
Yeah, just do a quote of the number you want to have of them. The quality.
1,000.
That's monkey.
Good. Hold on. We need a range.
Oh, he does this, doesn't he?
He does.
I think I'm out dancing, personally.
Yeah, I think you are. Definitely out dancing.
Anyway.
My name is Paul, Berserker One, Batman Show, your humble host and space bartender here.
Probably do a redirect on YouTube too, actually, if I give it a minute.
You probably could.
We're good. Right, hang on. Let me.
We're going to go to, if we can, we're going to redirect on YouTube.
We will. Give me a second. It just takes a moment on YouTube. It's a pain in the butt. Redirect. 10:45 a.m. Yeah, that'll be it. All right, so that should be set up to redirect to that now.
All right. So
save it.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yep.
Don't forget to hit our like, subscribe button, and all that
I
other
gotta do
jazz.
that manually. Hang on. It's broken.
You do have to do it manually.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you everyone that went extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video.
As we always say, yep. Awesome to those people who do back us. Thank you very much, and take care. God bless, be well. I've been Algared, and that's been Execute. When I do it, get it out. Take care.